Chapter 943. No wonder Lord Zhangzhong is Lord Zhang Xiaobei's biological father. No wonder he dares to scold Xiaobei. The steward felt that it was a good thing that there was someone in the imperial court who could control Xiaobei. It depends on what the matter is. If Xiaobei is serious about something, she dares to go against her father. After quarreling in the imperial court, Xiaobei will go home and hide before the court is dismissed. Bai Go laughed heartily when talking about this. Zhang Xiaobao winked at Wang Wan and went to the kitchen to cook. After all, he couldn't let Bai Go eat some snacks to fill his stomach. Wang Wan accompanied Bai Go to the table and told him the importance of building a road to the 3 northeastern provinces. The northern part of Hebei province. She listed the mineral resources in the northeast and talked about the characteristics of the northeast land. She especially emphasized the benefits of planting potatoes brought back from outside in the black soil of the Commander-in-Chief's mansion in Bohai. She also mentioned the precious medicinal materials that liked cold weather, delicious birds and beasts, beautiful and practical animal fur. Of course, she didn't miss the important strategic locations. Oh, you mean if we move the heavy industry to the northern part of Hebei province and put the large docks around, Jili province can be connected with Deng province and Lai province in Hunan province. A large area in the middle can be used for naval training and formation before meeting the enemy. However, in the northern part of Hebei province, only your Jili province has some people. The other places are uninhabited or sparsely populated. Who will occupy those places when attacking the Tang Empire? What's more, except for our Tang Empire, I haven't heard of any gunboats in other places. Although Bai Go's thinking was more advanced, he didn't think of the same thing as Wang Wan. He had many doubts. Wang Wan heard Bai Go say that the 3 northeastern provinces were not important. She opened her mouth and didn't know what to say for a while. She looked at the map and pondered for a while. Then she said, "Grandpa, Bai, do you think it's easy for Xiaobao and me to clean up the northern part of Hebei province?" Bai Go nodded. That was exactly what he meant. It did not take much effort. There were a few small skirmishes, and they only used the gunships once. Even if they did not use the gunships, it would not have been a big deal. "Grandpa Bai, that's because Shandong, the Hunan circuit, is in the hands of our Great Tang. Otherwise, even if Xiaobao and I mobilized our elite soldiers, we wouldn't have been able to attack them. Once they had a ship like ours, or even a smaller one, it would have been connected to the Hunan circuit's Dengzhou. I can only lead my troops to attack Deng province first. Deng province is not in my hands, so I definitely don't dare to attack that place. Unless they don't resist. Hiding millions of soldiers in the vast mountains to the north is like child's play. Back then, I led the soldiers of Yi province. Why? Why didn't I bring the soldiers from Jiangnan? Without Lu Zhou's wolf soldiers? Because I'm afraid that they will hide. If they hide until winter, the soldiers of Yi province can still resist the cold." Wang Wan was not from the northeast. To be precise, she was not a pure northeasterner. She was originally from Beijing. The climate was the same as the northeast, and the area was close to Hebei. However, she knew the importance of the 3 provinces in the northeast. Otherwise, how did the capital of Beijing come to be? Who built Shanghai Pass for? The 2 capitals were unparalleled, and the first pass of the Great Wall was just a joke. Bai Go lowered his head and pondered. His steward was at a loss. He did not know what the northern part of Hebei province looked like. He only knew that the ginseng there was good, especially when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were there. They sent a lot of ginseng to the old master. There was also kunbu, which could be planted. There were also pearls, fungus, and so on. According to the old master, ginseng was also planted near Jili province. For the magical Zhang family and Wang family, it seemed that there was nothing they could not plant. Maybe one day they would be able to plant millions of soldiers. After pondering for a while, Bai Go said, "It's indeed not easy to fight. Otherwise, it would have been directly under our control. Why would we build so many protectorates? You and Xiaobao have been troubled." "Grandpa Bai, you finally speak the truth." "Xiaobao, add 1 more dish for Grandpa Bai." "Oh, add 2 more." Add one more dish to scold people. Wang Wan pretended to be moved and shouted to the kitchen. Bai Go said again, Cuckoo, I see that you and Xiao Bao went there very easily. Didn't you go there to make money by planting kunbu? Humph, if Xiao Bao wanted to make money, why would he go to Jili Province? Jiangnan Province, Huainan Province, Shannonese Province, and Lingnan Province. Which one can't he plant kunbu? Xiao Bao and I felt uncomfortable because there was an important place with a small population that was not under the control of the Tang Empire. Don't doubt the importance of the north of Hebei Province. If Xiao Bao and I want to rebel, we will definitely choose to do it in the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's office. Give Xiao Bao 1,000,000 people, give me 100,000 elite soldiers, and let the imperial court gather all the soldiers of the Tang Empire to fight. Let's see if we can take it down. When summer comes to attack, I will fight if I can. If I can't, I will retreat to the north. When winter comes, I will fight back. This winter, I will take you there for a walk and let you see what the elite soldiers are like in the snow. Wang Wan had heard the story told by her grandfather. Her grandfather said that her grandfather's grandfather was in the northeast. The Japanese immigrants were often bullied by the local landlords. The 3 provinces in the northeast held back a lot of Japanese forces. That was because the warlords didn't see the situation clearly and adopted a passive strategy. Every time she thought of the story and read the real historical information, Wang Wan would sigh. The North military camp, as long as they fought back, could form a crossfire net at any time. They didn't need to prepare during the day. Even if they were attacked at night, they could get up and quickly form a firepower position. Not to mention people, even tanks would be trapped. Even if they lost in the end, they could eliminate the living force of the old nose. What kind of soldiers were they? They were the direct subordinates brought out by Zhang, just like the strong protection team in her family, who dared to say that they could easily attack the position defended by the protection team according to the terrain and firepower deployment. Bai Go didn't know that Wang Wan thought of the history. Seeing Wang Wan's sad face, he thought that he didn't trust Wang Wan in his words and made her sad. Then he said, Cuckoo, what did the commander of your army look like? What? Nothing. It's just the Xiang army, given by the emperor. Oh, it's the soldiers of the Jiangnan and western provinces. Now they have begun to adapt to the climate. Wang Wan calmed down and said with a gesture, I'm talking about the winter clothes. Bai Go knew that His Majesty gave Xiao Bao and Cuckoo the soldiers. The reason why he gave them soldiers they were not familiar with was that he was afraid that they would dominate. Speaking of clothes, Wang Wan smiled. If you go there, you will be scared. In summer, they wear the normal gray-green camouflage clothes. In winter, humph. After it snows in winter, they wear white skis, duck down, a white cloak, a snow hat, and a pair of snow glasses. The gloves have 3 parts, one for the thumb, one for the index finger, and the other 3 fingers together to make it convenient to shoot. Everyone carries a simple medical kit, a flat bottle of strong liquor, a multifunctional white military shovel, and a pack of spicy jerky. Grandpa Bai, I let the Tang Empire choose any general to fight with me after it snows in winter. With 10,000 soldiers, I can easily defeat 100,000 of them. I participated in 3 maneuvers there. At that time, I thought about how to fight many times. Anyway, it's very powerful. As Wang Wan spoke, her words slipped out of her mouth, and she hurriedly corrected her. Bai Go didn't think too much about it. He thought about what Wang Wan had said about the soldiers' equipment. He thought that, in the snow, they would be dressed in white from top to bottom, which should be useful for hiding. As for what Wang Wan had said about 10,000 against 100,000, he still didn't quite believe it. The premise was that the one commanding the 10,000 was not Wang Wan. If it was Wang Wan, there was a high possibility of winning against 100,000 people in any place. Cuckoo, you are too modest. If you have enough space, I also believe that you can win if you fight against 200,000 with 10,000. Bai Go commented, Grandpa Bai, you don't understand what I mean. Even if it's not me, Xiao Bao can also win if he commands. You don't understand the cruelty of the forest and snowfield. For people who are not used to the environment, it's good enough that they can still breathe after entering. Wang Wan could not use words to describe the weather in the northeast, especially after passing Liaoning and heading north. It was bone-chilling, and the wind was like a knife. Droplets of water would turn into ice. The Xiang soldiers sent by Li Longji were all men. In the first winter, how many of them cried from a cold? Their hands and faces would be covered with cuts and blackened by the wind. In the middle of the cuts, there would be fresh red flesh. That was Jili province, which was Dalian. It was warmer and close to the sea. Let's try heading north. Bai Go heard Wang Wan's words and did not dare to make a conclusion. Is it really that cold? You can go and take a look during winter. I will prepare some protective measures for you and let you experience the feeling of snow in the north. When Wang Wan thought of standing under the snow without any protective measures, she could not help but shiver. Only a group of heartless children like Xiao Bei would be able to make a snowman even when their hands were red from the cold. Bai Go had never experienced such a degree of coldness. He gave himself courage and said, Okay. I will leave my 50 kilograms to you. If I freeze to death, you will feel guilty for the rest of your life. Oh, who dares to freeze our grandpa Bai to death? I will be the first to not let him off. Grandpa Bai, the dishes are here. Zhang Xiaobao came out of the kitchen with a big tray and said with a smile. There were 5 dishes on the tray. There was no soup because there was a northeast pig slaughtered dish in the middle. There was soup, pickled vegetables, white meat, blood sausage, vermicelli, and a smashed hind leg bone. There was also a small bowl of garlic sauce on the side. The other 4 dishes were stewed meat, steamed pork knuckle with chopped green onions, potato, braised eggplant, and braised chicken nuggets with mushrooms. Zhang Xiaobao originally planned to stew chicken and mushrooms, but he thought it would take too long. The 5 dishes were all typical northeast dishes. Zhang Xiaobao actually planned to make them even more shabby. For example, he would change the pork knuckle into sliced salted duck eggs, change the chicken and mushrooms into egg and onion pancakes, change the stewed meat into stewed vegetables, make the potato braised eggplant into eggplant with chopped green onions, and make the pig slaughter dish into stewed pickled vegetables. In the end, he was too embarrassed to do so, and had to serve them as planned. When Wang Wan saw the dishes, she immediately recognized which cuisine they belonged to. It was not winter yet, so the taste and feeling of eating northeast dishes was not so good. She glanced at the 5 dishes and asked, 5 dishes. There's also a spicy stir-fried intestine. I can only stir-fry it after boiling water and blanching the intestines. My speed is already fast enough. I turned on 4 stoves at the same time, so the pig slaughter dish and pork knuckle took more time. The water for blanching the intestines hasn't been boiled yet. I'm afraid that Grandpa Bai will be anxious from waiting. Zhang Xiaobao explained. All right, go back quickly. It's not easy for Grandpa Bai to come here. Even if it's a simple meal, it can't be too shabby. Grandpa Bai, I'm sorry. Xiaobao's hands are really not fast enough. Wang Wan chased Zhang Xiaobao back and said modestly to Bai Go. Bai Go did not move his chopsticks. He waited for the wine to be warmed at the side. At the same time, he was also waiting for Zhang Xiaobao to finish the last dish so that they could eat together. After hearing Wang Wan's words, he said to his housekeeper, Did you see that? The dishes are slow. After returning to the residence, tell the chefs that they don't need to make 5 dishes in that short amount of time. If they can make 4 dishes in front of them, I'll consider them doing their job well. Don't learn from Xiaobao and waste time cooking. Master, if we really do that, we won't have any chefs in our residence. Master, I understand. No wonder you said that Her Majesty is willing to eat the dishes cooked by Jidushi Zhang. How fast does he have to be to manage 4 stoves at the same time? Other than using a spoon, he also has to use a knife to cut, right? To be honest, if I had the money to invite Jidushi Zhang to cook, I would be willing to pay 100 strings of cash just by looking at his knife skills. The housekeeper was deeply shocked. While he was speaking, 5 dishes were already out. Wouldn't the knife be flying? Bai Go chuckled and said, 100 strings of cash? Is Xiao Bao so worthless? Do you know how much money he earns when he cooks a dish? What's that saying again? Oh, it's in minutes. Tens of thousands of strings of cash. Do you think anyone can eat the dishes cooked by Xiao Bao? Have a seat. I don't know when I'll be able to eat them again. Thank you, master. The housekeeper hurriedly found a seat at the end of the table and sat down. To be able to eat a bite of Zhang Xiaobao's dishes, regardless of the taste, just based on his status, he would gain face if word got out. Just as the housekeeper sat down, the fragrance of the hot wine wafted up. Zhang Xiaobao came back from the back with a plate in his hands. Grandpa Bai, don't say that. It's just a dish. It doesn't matter who cooks it. Xiao Bei can make dolls with his friends in Old Willow Village. Can I cook a few dishes with the commoners? The weight of one's status has nothing to do with being reserved. It's not difficult to eat the food I cook. Yesterday, I stood on the street and roasted more than 60 caddies of meat skewers. I didn't even get a single copper coin. You have the nerve to say that. I helped you roast the meat skewers. My hands are swollen. How can you manage a grill that's 10 feet long? You roast big skewers. 1 caddy of meat is 20 skewers. You roast 7 to 8 caddies of meat at once. I have to bring 6 maidservants with me. How tired am I? Wang Wang complained. She even opened her hands for Bai Go to see. Next time, let's roast properly before we roast the meat. Madam, do you find that they enjoy the food? Zhang Xiaobao was surprised. I also enjoy the food. It tastes cheap. It's free. Wang Wan said. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. This shows that the commoners' lives are not easy. Rich people will not take advantage of this. One person can only eat 1 skewer, and they have to line up. Is it easy? Xiaobao, pour the wine. I will also eat meat skewers tomorrow afternoon. Find a place and accompany me to fish and roast the meat. Bai Go had not moved his chopsticks. The master did not even serve the wine. How could he eat the food? Zhang Xiaobao obeyed and poured the wine. He held it up and gave Bai Go his blessings. Then he filled Bai Go's chopsticks with food. Only then did Bai Go start eating. Early the next morning, Bai Go called Zhang Xiaobao and asked him to find a place to fish. He also brought the meat skewers that he had asked his men to roast for lunch. Looking at the color of the meat skewers, Bai Go was puzzled. He asked Zhang Xiaobao, "There is no mutton or beef." "The mutton is not here yet. We have beef, but we don't dare to eat it. The commoners are waiting for the compensation. Do you want to eat beef?" Zhang Xiaobao explained. "No. I am afraid of being scolded behind my back. Other than transporting livestock and poultry, you also have to send food to the commoners. It's really not easy." Bai Go was just asking. He basically listened to Zhang Xiaobao when he came here. He believed that Xiao Bao would adjust his diet. Zhang Xiaobao carried his fishing gear and headed towards one of the water bubbles. That place should be able to hold some fish when the flood hits. When he heard Bai Go's question, he replied, "There is no need to prepare food for them. Humans cannot eat the food inside, but the livestock can eat it. I only need to hand over the pigs, cows, sheep, chickens, ducks, and geese to the commoners. Even if the commoners have to wade through the mud, they will still collect enough food for their livestock and poultry. I know. With livestock, the commoners would rather be frugal and feed them well. Many commoners couldn't afford cows and sheep in the past, so they would buy pigs. They would add a cover on top of the pig, and that would be their home. Only with a pig can there be a home. If I don't represent the imperial court to compensate them, they will not be able to have a stable winter. Especially those who raise cows. They basically raise the cows as their children, so I don't dare to kill the cows. In a few days, I will find local laborers to work and pay them. As for the old people and women who can't work, they will find ways to collect food for their livestock and poultry in the flood. I will give them some hope this year. Next autumn, there will be a bumper harvest. The rent that they should pay will not be less, so the incompetent officials should get out as soon as possible." Bai Go continued. "Grandpa, Bai, you know how to live. I admire you," Zhang Xiaobao praised. "Then, when the people from Jinjia Academy come to be officials, no one can stop them, right? I don't know if they can stop them. I only know that when the people from the academy come, I will skin them alive if they don't manage the place well. I have told them this before the imperial examination, since they have acknowledged themselves as Jinjia Academy. Don't make a fool of yourself if you can't be one. The mediocre ones should get out of the way, and the capable ones should stay in the middle. Zhang Xiaobao said very impolitely. Chapter 944. Xiaobei's ingredients were not delivered from Chang'an. There was not enough time, nor were they delivered from Luoyang. Xiaobei had transferred them from Shanzhou. Shanzhou was next to Guizhou, which was also Hongnong's capital. Compared to Hongnong, which had a river that entered the Yellow River, Shanzhou was located beside the Yellow River. Between the clouds and the water and Bihai's Silver Sand restaurant faced each other. There was no shortage of ingredients inside. Even if they had to provide food for Hongnong, they did not need the restaurant's high-end ingredients. Xiaobei sent an order through the radio. Yesterday afternoon, the two restaurants in Shanzhou sent people to deliver the ingredients to Old Willow Village at the fastest speed. The ingredients arrived early this morning, followed by a few sous chefs who were tired from riding horses. The head chef did not come and had to stay in the restaurant. The children did not know that the ingredients were not easy to come by. They had almost emptied the two restaurants' reserves, and the two restaurants had to apply for more from other places. The children only knew that Xiaobei was very loyal. If she said that she would treat them to a meal, they would be able to eat immediately. Let the chefs rest first. There are many people, so we can only eat at night. Let's eat at noon. Xiaohai saw that her sister wanted to arrange lunch for the children, so she stopped her. Yes, it's tiring to come all the way here. Let's rest first. We'll deal with it ourselves at noon. Xiaobei hurriedly ordered the servants to make arrangements. She even patted the belly of a big-bellied sous chef. You must have eaten a lot. Xiaobei is wise. The sous chef readily admitted. Who didn't eat secretly when they were chefs? When a master taught his disciple, he would specially set aside a dish for his disciple to taste. Xiaobei revealed an "I'm very awesome" expression and turned to help move the goods. Some of the goods were fresh, such as specially fed pigs, reared pufferfish with low levels of poison, fat autumn crabs, and hazel grouse used to make soup. They were also flying dragons that were transported from Bohai Commander-in-Chief's office. The children also came forward to take a look. They had not seen many of them, so most of them could not recognize what they were. A child asked Xiaobei, "Sister Xiaobei, what's that shrunk into a ball?" "Let me see." "It's called a sea cucumber head. It's dry. It's from last year or the year before that. The new sea cucumber head this year doesn't taste good." Xiaobei had eaten a lot of good food, so she recognized it at a glance. "Little sister Xiaobei, what is this?" another child asked. Xiaobei leaned over to take a look. "The abalones that I said I would treat you guys to are not easy to deal with. Looking at the size, there should be 6-headed abalones, and there are only 20 of them. The rest are abalones with more than 10 heads. How are we going to split them?" "Xiaobei, why is there a cut on the abalone?" "It's convenient to dry. The 6-headed abalone I'm talking about is 6 abalones per caddy after drying. 6 fresh abalones per caddy is not worth much." "Xiaobei, are those big pieces of beef?" "Let me see. Oh, it's roe deer meat. It's used to stew the hazel mushrooms. The hazel mushrooms have been marinated. And the one beside it is shark's fin. I don't know what kind of shark's fin it is, but it's not the heavenly 9 fins. Xiaobei, there are toads with red bellies. My brother calls it forest frog. The most delicious part is the toad oil. It's probably braised or steamed. It doesn't taste good when fried. The crabs are so big. I heard that the crabs in Lake Tai are delicious. Are they from there?" "No, the crabs in Lake Tai are in a row of wooden basins next to it. There aren't many of them. What you're looking at are big sea crabs. They're not worth much. My family raises them. I wanted to bring some drunk crabs over, but there are too few drunk crabs in the restaurant. My brother doesn't want us kids to eat too many crabs." Xiaobei, I know this. It's called kunbu. Grandpa Muramasa bought it before. It's very expensive. It's used to make prescriptions. It won't be expensive in the future. When our village makes money, I'll go to Jili province to buy it. The cost of breeding and transportation is covered. But you're not allowed to sell it. You can only eat it yourself. Xiao Bei was surrounded by people and kept asking questions. Even so, she was not stumped. She could name every dish and even a few recipes. She must have eaten it often. The children looked at Xiao Bei with even more admiration. Sister Xiao Bei, does the current emperor really eat these? A child looked in the direction of Chang and then asked uncertainly. Xiao Bei nodded twice. It's true. The difference is that the person who cooks it is not the sous chef I transferred. It's the imperial chef from the palace. Then the emperor must be eating the best, right? No, I'm the one who eats the best. The imperial kitchen doesn't have as many dishes as my family's restaurant. I mainly have a good brother. Uncle Emperor wants to eat the dishes made by my brother, so he has to find my brother. I'm with my brother every day, and my brother is always trying his best to cook good food for us. Every few days, my brother will take out a new dish for us to eat first. When we're done eating, he will send it to the palace and the restaurant. There are also a lot of expensive snacks. My brother doesn't let the emperor know. Xiao Bei said proudly. The children were full of envy. It was good to have a capable brother who spoiled them. When Xiao Bei showed her skills, and the children were looking forward to eating delicious food at night, a group of people appeared at the opposite end of the iron chain bridge in Old Willow Village. Compared to the Japanese Shuichiro Watanabe, who had directly crossed the bridge, the other side seemed to be very honest. Not only were there people, there were also carriages with horses and donkeys. The group stopped there. A round-faced man in brocade walked out of the crowd. He did not dare to cross the bridge directly, so he stood at the end of the bridge and shouted, "Is that Zhang Xiaobei, Lord Zhang Xingzai? Are all the children of Hongnong County here? Who are you?" The guard on this side of the bridge asked with a gun. Great Tang people, don't shoot." The voice from the other side was obviously frightened. Identity. The guard was unmoved and continued to ask. Shanzhou, Zhou City, Linhe Street, Yu Ichio, the head of Yu's Qin Miao Trading Company. The other side immediately replied. "What are you doing here?" The guard asked again. "Sending cucumbers, garlic sprouts, spinach, and cabbage, plus a batch of literature and ink products." The other side answered. "Come here yourself." The guard was still vigilant. Okay. The person on the other side walked towards the bridge by himself. A gust of wind blew, and he was fat, so the bridge shook. He was so scared that he squatted down and used his hands to support the bridge, giving people a feeling of being blown by the wind and rain. With great difficulty, the self-proclaimed Yu Ichio climbed over the bridge. He put his hands on the bridge pier and gasped for breath. His face was pale with fright. One of the guards at the end of the bridge leaned over. His voice was not as strict as before. "We need to search him first." Understood. "Search, I understand. Our Xiao Bei is precious. We can't be careless. If someone really wants to harm Xiao Bei, I will be the first to disagree." Yu Ichio was very easy to talk to. He raised his arm and stood there motionless, waiting to be searched. After he finished speaking, he opened his mouth and let them check if there was anything in his mouth. The guard was very serious. He pulled out a stack of papers from the cloth at Yu Ichio's waist. He opened it and looked at it carefully. It was a copy of the Yu family's Qin Miao Trading Company. It even had the seal of Shan Province. It seemed like the business was not small. Otherwise, it would only have the seal of the county. "Brother, there is more. It is between the second and third paper." Yu Ichio did not forget to remind. The guard followed his instructions and turned it over. Inside was a piece of hard paper with oil prints. The picture was of a rising sun shining down from between two white clouds. Below, it was a field with rice seedlings planted in the field. Each seedling had a small face. Looking at it from the side, there were 3 kinds of light seals that were constantly changing colors. There were 2 words written on it, "Morning Sun." There was also a portrait of Yu Ichio. It was very realistic. There was a steel seal at the bottom right corner. Boss you, please wait for a moment. I will go and report to Xiaobei. The guard's attitude changed. His tone was not so stiff, and there seemed to be a smile on his face. Of course, of course. I am not in a hurry. The vegetables are covered tightly. The weather is not cold. I won't freeze. Yu Ichio felt honored that the guard's attitude had changed. When the guard arrived in front of Xiaobei and the group of children had already stopped talking. They were looking towards a bridge. Who? When the guard came closer, Xiaobei asked curiously. Shan Province, State City, Linhe Street. The boss of Yu family's Qingniao Trading Company. Yu Ichio. He said that he brought vegetables and a batch of stationery. In addition to the state government seal, there is also a ticket to participate in the Morning Sun operation. It has been checked. It is real. The guard did not speak nonsense and reported concisely. Xiaobei was very surprised. Then let him come over. Oh, don't come over first. First, send a message to Shan Province. Verify. Since it is a merchant from the Morning Sun operation, I want to talk to him at close range. Yes. The guard accepted the order and went to the bridge. He began to gossip with Yu Ichio, but did not let him come over. Someone else sent a message to Shan Province. Shan Province's response was very fast. They confirmed the message and described Yu Ichio's appearance. Okay, go over. Try not to move your hands and feet too much. Otherwise, the guard moved aside and warned Yu Ichio. I understand. Otherwise, if there is a misunderstanding, I will kill you on the spot. Thank you. This is worth it. I can finally see Xiaobei's appearance with my own eyes. Yu Ichio added with a flattering smile on his chubby face. The so-called close range was different from Shuichiro Watanabe. There was no restriction of 10 steps, and there was no need to kneel. Xiaobei also did not change his official uniform. Yu Ichio walked in front of Xiaobei and stopped 2 steps away. He put his hands behind his back and smiled even more sweetly. It wasn't easy for a man to smile like this. Xiaobei also smiled, but his smile was more beautiful than Yu Ichio's. Hello, boss Yu. You are a merchant from Chaoyang operation, right? Yes. Xiaobei, you are really beautiful. My granddaughter is 1 year old this year. In the future, she will be half as beautiful as you. I am satisfied. I brought a lot of vegetables. I heard that there are a lot of children here, so we can't lack vegetables. They are all covered with cotton quilts. Not even a single garlic sprout will be damaged. Yu Ichio held his stomach and said with a smile. Xiaobei also smiled and nodded. He suddenly asked, Can you tell me, how did you know I was here? The surrounding children nodded and agreed with Xiaobei's question. Yu Ichio took a step back. Because Xiaobei's words were full of suspicion, he had to avoid suspicion. I often go to Blue Sea Silver Sand, and I am familiar with the shop assistant on the 3rd floor. Yesterday afternoon, Blue Sea Silver Sand suddenly gathered a lot of things and left. Between the clouds and the water on the opposite side. That is all your business. I was just about to eat, so I was puzzled. What happened? I casually found a reason with the merchants I invited. I came out and asked Xiaofan. He said that you were nearby and needed ingredients to cook. There were also a lot of Hong Nong's children. I know about Hong Nong's matter. Half of my officials in Shanzhou were arrested. Hong Nong's Chaoyang operation merchants must have suffered a heavy loss. I thought Shanzhou's children are children. Hong Nong's children are also children, right? In autumn, there is still a lot of money left in the family. In addition, there are a lot of vegetables. The vegetables in the merchants can't be sold at a good price. It is considered off-season. Last time, your brother made a lot of garlic sprout, and now it has become a signature dish. I thought, since there are a lot of vegetables in the family, I will send some. I told Xiaofan that I will send the vegetables in the family to you. In the end, Xiaofan did not agree. He said that he was afraid that I would poison it. I am wronged. Even if I had 100 guts, I would not dare to poison you. Even if I did, you can't detect it? Who doesn't know that your family is the best, right? I think it is not easy for Xiao Fan. Fine, I will send it myself. I asked my younger brother to answer the merchants. I went back home to pack up and formed a team. I came with your team. On the way, when we passed by the provinces Babao Jai, I wanted to ask Old Chun to accompany us. His family is also involved in the Chaoyang operation. Guess what? Old Chun is sick. He is on a drip in a clinic. I thought about it. No, I couldn't force him to come here. What if he died on the way? I comforted him and wanted to leave, but he stopped me and asked me to go to his son and bring him some stationery. It would be perfect for the children to study. Look, I've wasted some time and walked slower than your group. I've only just arrived. I'm in the first group. I know Old Chen's mouth. He's a loose cannon. I reckon that the others will all know about it soon. The people who will deliver the other gifts will also arrive one after another. That's all. I came here personally to ask the children what vegetables they want to eat. I have a lot at home. I will ask someone to send them to the village later. It is the off-season. Food is cheap in the off-season. If the children eat well, I will accumulate good karma for my family. Yu Yi begged Luoluo to say a lot of things, but the meaning was clearly expressed. He also forgot what the guard said just now. When he spoke, he gesticulated with his hands and feet. Following his movements, his fat body shook back and forth, and it was quite rhythmic. His smile was still flattering, but Xiao Bei's smile changed. It became more sincere and sweet. He tilted his head and listened to him. He asked, "Uncle Yu, why don't you make more sauerkraut while there is a lot of cabbage? There are also garlic sprouts. They grow slowly in winter. You can make them into canned food." "I want to. Last year, I made sauerkraut, but it always turned bad. I don't know how to make canned food. Not everyone can learn how to make it. Speaking of this, I regret it. I thought that it would not make money, so I did not participate. No matter, my family's vegetables are selling well in winter. I bought a lot of land to make greenhouses. Now, the cost of greenhouses is lower. I have many cucumbers and spinach. They can be sold for a lot of money in winter." Yu Ichio's regretful expression disappeared. He seemed to be a cheerful person. Otherwise, he would not be so generous and fat. "Then what do you do after you earn so much money?" Xiao Bei did not understand what she could do with a lot of money. She was confused about her family's money. She was not confused about the million strings of coins she spent. She was a little sad and a little sweet. But if it was 100 million strings of coins, she would not spend it. She only knew that money was important, but she did not understand how important it was. Give her 10 million strings of coins, and she felt that she could do everything. Yu Ichio rubbed his stomach and laughed. "When I have money, I will open shops in other places and earn more money. Then I will participate in more Chaoyang activities. In addition to a 1-year-old granddaughter, I also have a grandson who is not even a month old, my eldest grandson, and my eldest grandson. After I earn more, I will leave it to them. When my granddaughter and grandson are older, they will go to school. The teachers there will treat them well. Even if they are stupid, they will teach them well, so that they will not be bullied. When others talk about them, they will get this." Yu Ichio gave him a thumbs up. "Just like you, Xiao Bei. Wherever you go, who dares to look down on you? You are a good child, but your identity has nothing to do with you. It was created by your brothers and sisters. Now, I will do it for my juniors." Xiao Bei nodded in agreement. She was still very reasonable. She said, "Uncle Yu, your money is clean, and you are willing to take it out to help others. You are a good person. To be honest, I don't want to earn clean money. In the beginning, I also wanted to cheat people, but I was afraid of your brother. My family's business is big. If I really want to cheat people, it will not be small. It will be easy to be targeted by your brother. The officials are afraid of you because the 9 of you are righteous. In fact, the officials are afraid of your older brother and sister. The merchants are more afraid of your older brother than the officials. If you find fault with the officials, there is still a place to reason with. If the merchants cross your older brother's bottom line, Losing all of their family fortune is a light punishment. Let me tell you, you might not understand. But if your elder brother wants my company to donate all of our vegetables, I must give your elder brother a definite reply within half an hour. I don't dare to delay until noon. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Your family's medical school has a saying among the people, if the king of hell wants people to die at midnight, if I say 5, it will be 5. The merchants also have a saying to your brother, if the judge writes a ghost, there will be no soul in Xiaobao. People who do business hope to be remembered by your brother, because they are righteous. There are also people who are afraid of being seen by your brother, because they are crooked. Yu Ichio continued to display his talkative ability and told Xiao Bei the truth. Then what about you? Xiao Bei laughed and asked, I dared to come today because I am not afraid of being remembered by your brother. In fact, I hope that your brother will remember me as firmly as possible. Yu Ichio patted his trembling chest. Xiao Bei also made a few gestures on his body and found that he could not tremble. He shyly said, Okay, I will tell my brother that there is such a person who sells vegetables. His name is Yu Ichio. I don't know whether he is good or bad. I only know that he at least acts like he should. Thank you, thank you. Xiao Bei, I will definitely act well. Thank you. Yu Ichio was at a loss. You are welcome. As long as there are not many rotten vegetables in your vegetables, I will recognize you. Do you know why your pickled vegetables always rot? Xiao Bei blinked his eyes and asked. Yu Ichio shook his head. I don't know. If I know, it will not rot. In fact, it is very simple. The jar that you use to pickle the pickled vegetables first needs to be boiled with boiling water. The cabbage that you choose cannot be rotten. The salt that you use needs to be boiled with boiling water. Then, add a lid to cool it down. After the cabbage is put in, don't let it come into contact with the air. The stone used to press the jar needs to be fine. Also, it needs to be brushed with boiling water. When you are pickling the pickled vegetables, you need to scoop out the bubbles and foam as early as possible. The room should not be too hot. If you find a bit of a stench, immediately change the jar and add some wine. I am not clear about the technology of making canned food. Next time you come, I will tell you. Okay, it is not easy for you to come here. Stay for dinner tonight. Xiao Bei told Yu Ichio the secret of pickled vegetables and made his own judgment. He asked Yu Ichio to stay for dinner. Yu Ichio's eyes widened. He took a deep breath and tried hard to recall what Xiao Bei had said as if it was a joke. He believed that Xiao Bei would never lie to him. The canning technology could be obtained later, and the pickling method could not be wrong, because Xiao Bei did not need to lie to him. Hearing Xiao Bei invite him to eat together, he said with some uncertainty, There is no need for dinner, right? I can find a place to eat by myself. Then it's decided. Uncle Yu, you go rest first. Someone come. Take Uncle Yu to a comfortable place. Xiao Bei decided. Yu Ichio left. The vegetables he brought were also transported to Willow Village. Someone made a rough estimate. Yu Ichio brought at least 50,000 jin of vegetables. Not to mention the price of the vegetables. Just the transportation cost was not small. There was also that sick old Chun. His stationery was also very timely. Xiao Bei had people send electricity to Shanzhou so that the medical center there would be better for old Chun and waive his fees. Of course, old Chun would not care about the medical fees, but Xiao Bei had to show his attitude. Xiao Bei and the others were often with their brothers and sisters. Otherwise, they would not know how to do things like this. Even if he was a prince, sometimes he could not know his place. Following that, just as Yu Ichio said, all kinds of goods were sent by the merchants of Shanzhou. Various sizes of clothing, meat, firewood, utensils were sent to Old Willow Village by horse carriage or donkey cart. Every merchant took out the invitation card for the Chaoyang operation. The merchants who did not have the invitation card were too embarrassed to come and deliver things. This was because Xiao Bei had sent a message to the merchants of Shanzhou through the radio. The merchants who did not participate in the Chaoyang operation would not receive their goods for the time being. There was limited manpower, so they could not carry out a thorough investigation. The merchants understood. Xiao Bei meant that the merchants who were afraid of spending money and did not take out money to participate in the Chaoyang operation were not qualified to see Xiao Bei this time. Xiao Bei did not trust them. In an instant, the merchants in Shanzhou discovered that a single invitation could actually become a golden signboard. Lil Bei was giving you face by accepting your goods. Because the Zhang and Wang families didn't lack these things, no one forced you to send them. However, Lil Bei would have people record the names of the merchants who sent them. Zhang Xiaobao found a place to fish and began to hang the bait. He still did not know what his sister was doing. If he knew, he would sigh. This era was really good. The merchants did not dare to interfere with the government. They knew their place. Baigo was as leisurely as usual. He followed the rod, put the bait, shook the float, and then waited for a fish to bite the hook. Zhang Xiaobao accompanied by his side. His face was also indifferent. He knew that he could not show his fear. Grandpa Bai was not here to fish. How many times had he experienced the same scene since he was young? It was not easy to fish with Grandpa Bai. Grandpa Bai came all the way here. How could it be as simple as catching a few fish? It was time for a battle of wits and courage. Baigo's luck was not bad. The float moved. He shook the rod, and a 3-inch-long grass carp came up. Zhang Xiaobao did not care about whether his float moved or not. He took a deep breath. He knew that the business was coming. He smiled and said, "Grandpa Bai's prestige is still the same as before. Good method." Baigo picked the fish and put it in the net. He smiled at Zhang Xiaobao and said, "Xiaobao, what do you think this fish is?" "It's coming." Zhang Xiaobao thought. He tried to guess what Grandpa Bai was going to say. He said, "Grass carp. I'll fry it for you later. Do you want to make soup? What do you think?" "No, hurry. It's just one." Baigo put the bait again and threw it into the water. "Well, I'm not in a hurry. What can I do? Do you think I'm scared?" Zhang Xiaobao smiled reservedly. His eyes swept across the water and the sky. The float in front of him suddenly moved. Zhang Xiaobao nimbly lifted the rod. It was still a grass carp. By rough estimation, it was half an inch longer than Baigo's. It was hard to tell how wide it was. He took it down and put it in the net. He adjusted the fishing line, put the bait again, and threw it into the water. "Xiaobao, are you a grass carp too?" Baigo asked knowingly. Zhang Xiaobao acted as if nothing had happened. "Yes. Maybe there are many grass carps here. It's normal." Baigo smacked his lips and said in puzzlement, "Xiaobao, why do I see that the fish we catch are all small? Is it? I don't think it's small. How big can a grass carp be? It's just a bubble. It's not a big river." Zhang Xiaobao's mind turned quickly. He wanted to avoid the topic. "You mean it's not small?" Baigo was surprised. "It's over." When Zhang Xiaobao heard this question, he immediately regretted. It was the same word that Grandpa Bai used to describe him. It was impossible to guard against it. Indeed, old people were shrewd. "Xiaobao, is it a yes or no?" Baigo asked. Zhang Xiaobao was using his hand to grab a blade of grass beside him. Odd numbers meant yes, even numbers meant no. Yes, no. When he grabbed the last leaf, it was yes. He then replied, "What Grandpa Bai said makes sense. It's not small at all." "Xiaobao, in your opinion, is a grass carp not small? Is it young or old?" Baigo did not see the blade of grass that Zhang Xiaobao had pulled and continued to ask. Grandpa Bai, I was in a daze just now. What I meant was that the grass carp is still young." Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had made a mistake in his judgment. Grass carps were not accurate. He quickly denied. "Oh, I understand. Xiaobao, you have been too busy recently. You are always in a daze. You mean that it's young, right? Am I right?" Baigo followed Zhang Xiaobao's words and asked again. Zhang Xiaobao touched a blade of grass that was pulled and wanted to cry. There was only one blade of grass beside him, and all the leaves were gone. If he had known earlier, he would have pulled half of it. He nodded and admitted. "Grandpa Bai, you are right. It's small. It's really small. When Zhang Xiaobao was replying, he really wanted to change the topic. For example, the futures that the Japanese had created or the prototype of warrants. He believed that he could definitely fool Grandpa by, as if it was a game. But now, that had nothing to do with it. Now he was fishing. Baigo suddenly showed a pained expression. He frowned and said, Xiaobao, look, you also admitted that the fish you caught are small. It's not too small. It's edible. I will wrap it with noodles and fry it. It tastes good. Grandpa, have you eaten cumin steamed fish before? Zhang Xiaobao tried his best to change the topic. At this time, Baigo lifted the rod again. It was still a grass carp, and it was only 2 inches long. He also kept it. As he was baiting, he turned his head and asked, No. Tell me, what kind of fish do you want to make? Do you have any requirements for the size of the fish? No. Zhang Xiaobao answered against his will. Okay, that's good. I am afraid that the big fish will be treated differently from the small fish. Tell me, if the fish were human, according to your cooking method, would it be eaten by both young and old? Baigo did not intend to change the topic at all. He followed whatever Zhang Xiaobao said as if he was really here to fish and relax. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, was facing a formidable enemy. He knew that the only explanation for Grandpa Bai to do this was that the topic was still within Grandpa Bai's control. After taking a few deep breaths, Zhang Xiaobao said as if he was gambling, It's not like that. If the fish is too old, the taste won't be good. Yes. Xiaobao, when you said that, this old man sighed. The fish is too old to make the dish, he said. It's also troublesome to be old. Sigh. Baigo sighed again and again. Zhang Xiaobao regretfully pulled out the grass beside him. He followed Baigo's topic and said, Grandpa Bai, you are still young. Chapter 945. Zhang Xiaobao replied to Baigo's words. He shook the fishing rod and let it float up and down in the water. He said to Baigo, Grandpa Bai, do you not want to stay in the academy anymore? Are you unhappy? Yes, I am happy. Baigo retraced the line and threw the hook into the water. What do you mean by happy? It's too happy. There are other academies in other places, and the head stewards are always busy. Once your academy is settled properly, the stewards don't have to worry about it anymore. Just like your business, the rules are very detailed. Even those who don't know how to manage can manage it well by following the rules. I find time to teach you every day and have a good life. Later on, a bunch of old men came down from the imperial court and wanted to teach. It's good to have an old man in charge of other people's academies. But your Jinjia Academy is better. There are more people than classes, and you can't squeeze in. Zhang Xiaobao understood. Grandpa Bai was the kind of person who couldn't find anything to do. He was so bored that he was annoyed. He then suggested, Grandpa Bai, how about this? I'll arrange for all the old men to go out and let you have time to teach. There are many academies in Tang now, but there are not enough teachers. For example, in Hongnong County, the teachers in the small school don't even have the status of a high scholar. Even after studying for years, they can only memorize the Analects of Confucius. They can only explain a few things and then turn around and teach the children who can't read. Baigo listened to Zhang Xiaobao quietly and understood. Nowadays, schools for children to teach were all over Tang. Schools were not short of money. Merchants were greedy. But not only were they greedy for money, they were also greedy for benefits. According to Xiaobao, if there were benefits, they would dare to do it. In the end, the children were happy. In places where there were many merchants, the children's meals, clothes, and utensils were compared. If you were in charge of 5 days of meals and made fat fish head to nourish the children every day, I would eat braised pork every day. Who was better than who? If not for Xiaobao's strict rules on the children's meals, the children would have become fat pigs by now. The local merchants were rich, and the schools were better than the other. There were not enough teachers, so those with a bit of knowledge dared to sit in the classrooms. According to Xiaobao, he intends to send the other old men to other academies. Baigo thought about it and denied it. Xiaobao, that won't do. You don't understand us old geezers. In the past, when we fought in the imperial court, even if we didn't fight to the death, we were close to the point of swords and weapons. If it weren't for you and Cuckoo, we wouldn't have interacted with each other. He hadn't fought enough in the imperial court. What should he do? Now that I'm at your place, you can continue to fight. Even in a game of chess, you have to fight for supremacy. If you arrange for others to leave the academy, who would be willing to do so? The main thing is that other academies are not as good as your Jinjia Academy. If you go elsewhere, it will be a fight between academies. Knowing that it was not enough, who would walk the path of certain defeat? Rules can be learned by your father. You can't learn from the confidence behind Cuckoo. The beautiful surroundings can be created as long as you have money. However, you can't create the awe-inspiring and strong character of Jinjia Academy. Many students are proud to be able to enter Jinjia Academy. Now, no one in Jinjia Academy is here to waste time. They all feel that they don't have enough time. In the past, they competed about status and spending. Now, they are competing about ability and knowledge. It's too vulgar to say that they are rich. No one dares to say that they are rich in your academy. Bai Go's words made Zhang Xiaobao feel embarrassed. Although he knew that the academy that his family had set up Grandpa by had a bad reputation, he had to be humble. Of course, he also knew that the reason why a famous school was famous was not only because it occupied a large area and had good teachers, but also because of its foundation. For example, West Point, Cambridge, and other schools that were valued in China in the past, and named Shuimuzhan and Tsinghua Academy. It seemed that in the future, his Jinjia Academy would also become Jinjia University. If it continued for 1,000 years, who would dare to refuse to accept it? Thinking of this, Zhang Xiaobao laughed to himself, until Bai Go repeatedly called out, "Xiaobao, a fish has bitten the bait." Zhang Xiaobao finally woke up from his dream. He looked at the water. Indeed, the fish was biting tightly, struggling to move the float up and down. He quickly held the bottom of the fishing rod with one hand and used the other hand to test the strength. A foot-long fish was pulled out of the water. Just as Zhang Xiaobao was about to throw the fish to the shore, the water splashed everywhere. A black shadow jumped out and went straight to the foot-long fish. Bai Go was shocked. His eyes widened instantly. Before he could see clearly what flew out of the water, his line of sight was blocked by Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao half squatted in front of Bai Go with one leg in front and one leg behind. He held a black dagger in his left hand and a gray revolver in his right hand. He held it on his left forearm. He looked at the other guards around him. They were either squatting or lying down. They pointed their guns in all directions. Following the sound of something falling into the water, bubbles appeared on the surface of the water. Zhang Xiaobao stood up and put the gun back into the holster on his leg. He turned around and smiled at Bai Go. "Haha, Grandpa Bai, it was a false alarm. It was a big black fish. Did it scare you? You scared me. I didn't see the fish at all." Bai Go said angrily. When he saw that the guards he brought were still confused, his anger burned even more. He lectured them. Look, I was counting on you to protect me. If a team like Xiaobao fought me, this old man would definitely die with a grievance. It's good, right? In the blink of an eye, you will have to say goodbye to this beautiful world." The butler, Changcheng, was shocked. He moved closer and whispered, "Master, I have already asked the leader of the guards to take care of them. Usually, they are not bad. There are not many teams in the world that can be as good as Jidushi Zhang's guards, right?" All right. When Xiaobao's team first came out, my guards were slightly better. Later, when they came to Shuzhou, my guards were slightly worse. Now let's not talk about it." Bai Go waved his hand dispiritedly. As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobao began to take off his clothes. He took off his clothes until he was only wearing a pair of shorts. He held the dagger in his hand and said to Bai Go, "Grandpa, Bai, don't worry. I will go down and catch it. It is about 4 feet long and has become a demon. Don't say that your guards are not changing. They are not changing." As soon as Zhang Xiaobao's voice fell, He drew a beautiful arc in the air and plunged into the water with a splash. Bai Go curled his lips. My ass. If you don't practice, you will become a demon. You will not change until you die. Prepare the net for me. Do you expect other people's elites to do the work? The second half of Bai Go's sentence was directed at his guards. He directly regarded them as his assistants. He also understood why the emperor directly asked Xiaobei and the others to come over, and why Xiaobao and Cuckoo did not object. Xiaobei's 9 children's bodyguards, compared to Xiaobao's bodyguards, should only be stronger. Bai Go guessed correctly. Even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not have the 2 fast gunmen that Watanabe Jichiro saw by Xiaobei's side. They only trained 2 qualified people and gave them to Xiaobei and the others. When Bai Go's guards pulled the net left and right, planning to help Zhang Xiaobao, the water on the surface of the water began to churn. There was a faint dark red color in the water. After a while, it stopped churning and spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. It waved its hand toward the shore. Its elbow was bent as it pushed something toward the shore. When the water became shallow, the figure of the blackfish was revealed. Zhang Xiaobao threw it into the water and no longer cared about it. He swung his left arm and walked to the shore, cursing, "Want to bite me?" I broke its teeth and hit its face. The skin on its pads is broken. Bah! Zhang Xiaobao spat out another mouthful of blood. It seemed that his teeth were really broken. Bai Go saw Zhang Xiaobao was injured, so his face sank. If you don't have the ability, don't go down and show off. How old are you? You are still like a child. I didn't show off. I just wanted to catch a live one. Otherwise, how could I be hurt by it? Let's not talk about the black fish. Let's see if a small shark dares to eat me. Unfortunately, you can't eat fresh fish. Take it back and I'll make half-fresh sashimi for you. Zhang Xiaobao looked very regretful. In the end, he still stabbed the black fish to death. The person in charge of carrying the fish saw that the black fish's eyes were obviously not pierced by a dagger. There were only 2 deep holes left, and the eyeballs were gone. Zhang Xiaobao probably pierced them with his fingers. There were a few wounds on the black fish's head. Wei Wei moved a little, but it would not come back to life. Bai Go saw that Zhang Xiaobao was not seriously injured, so he pointed to the stool next to him. Let's send the fish back and chill it. Let's continue fishing. Where were we just now? The weather was not too cold, and it was almost noon. Zhang Xiaobao did not put on his clothes. He sat down in his pants and replied, "We were talking about the academy. I said that my academy was good." "I didn't ask you about the latter part, the former part," Bai Shu reminded him. "Before that, you said that there were many old men and that they were fighting for classes, so you had no classes." "Before that." "That's it. Before that, I asked you if the fish was too old to cook dishes. Is that true?" Bai Go said it out by himself. Zhang Xiaobao tried to recall. It seemed that time had passed too quickly. When Bai Go was about to lose his patience, he finally showed a look of realization and said, "Yes, Grandpa. You have a good memory, Grandpa Bai. That depends on what kind of fish it is. For example, the blackfish we caught just now was about 4 feet long. It was definitely not young, and it tasted better. What if people are old? Can they only eat and wait for death?" Bai Go said with a sigh. Oh. Zhang Xiaobao understood that Grandpa Bai was suffering from the aftereffects of retirement. In the past, he followed him everywhere. Later, when he went to the north, he could not take the old man with him. After a long time, the old man had nothing to do. People who had been officials for a long time were not like ordinary old people who could take care of their grandchildren. They always wanted to do things that were in line with their official status. Although between the clouds and the water in Sanshui County was good, it was not a place they could stay all year round. "Grandpas all think so?" Zhang Xiaobao asked as he clumsily assembled the fishing rod with one hand and tapped it on his face again and again. "Everyone thinks so." Bai Go looked depressed. "It's simple. If you want to find something to do, just send a telegram or get someone to send a signal through the radio. I'll give you an idea. Why do you have to come here personally to fish?" Zhang Xiaobao slapped his thigh and complained. Bai Go glared at him. If you don't come here, do you think this old man can't even walk? Tell me, what's the job? Is there a salary? Yes, there's a lot of money. They will take the initiative to give it to you. Our Tang Empire's tourism industry is booming now. There are many places in my house. You can go and take a group of old men there. When you reach a place, you can praise them. For example, the water is good, the mountains are beautiful. If you want to move your arms, write couplets, or compose poems, just the money to polish your pen will be 10 times more than others. Eat, drink, and play. You won't have to pay a single cent. After a while, our tourism industry will open up in Japan. There's also Shinlu. If you're not afraid of storms, you can also go there. Zhang Xiaobao did not need to think too much. His eyes turned, and ideas came out like a gushing spring. Bai Go did not care about his fishing rod. He felt that by the water, the autumn cold was heavy, which was the opposite of what Zhang Xiaobao thought was warm. He took out a flat glass bottle from his arms, shook the wine inside, unscrewed the cap, and drank 2 mouthfuls. He exhaled deeply and said, "I regret it. If I had known, I would have brought Ya with me. I'm too old. I can't play tricks on you young people." "Grandpa Bai, you came here and asked me to give you an idea. I gave you an idea. How can you say that I'm playing tricks? You make me so sad." Zhang Xiaobao put the fishing rod on the shelf. When he waved his hand, someone brought him some clean water. He began to wipe his body so that he could change into dry pants later. Bai Go did not believe Zhang Xiaobao's words. "If you're not sad, why do you have so many tricks? You took too long to recall just now. You even tapped your face a few times." "Did I? Oh, the black fish hit me. It hurts, so I tapped it a little to stimulate the blood flow. It's the same as cupping and scraping when you're sick. Ice chips, give me ice chips. My face hurts more when I hear Grandpa Bai's words." Zhang Xiaobao splashed water on himself and asked someone to find ice chips for him. Bai Go gave Zhang Xiaobao a look of disbelief and asked, "Tell me, what's your purpose other than to play?" "Grandpa Bai, you're wise. It's a long story. Make it short." "Well, in fact, not all places in the Tang Empire are suitable for tourism. You always praise me for being smart. I won't let people waste money to invest. Firstly, tourism has requirements for roads. It's not too expensive to build roads, and it's not all cement roads. Rich people can go over and say that they're willing to fork out money and talk to the local people. The people who are free will take the initiative to build roads. You're in charge of the money for the gunpowder and food. The people are willing to build roads in front of their homes." The power of the people. Oh, the power of the people is very strong. They will quickly build a road that is cheap and convenient. The imperial court will then fork out money to build the main road, and all the roads will be connected. Zhang Xiaobao raised a finger and explained his original intention of developing tourism. "What's the second reason?" Bai Go felt that he was back in the Yamen and asked. "The second reason is that the Tang Empire has many special products and minerals. When I asked people to draw the map, I had already explored it. With the development of technology, there are more ways to explore. The resources that were not discovered in the past will be valued by the businessmen who invest money after the tourism industry. We'll note it down, but not mine. If we can plunder it, we must plunder it and leave some for our descendants. When technology reaches a certain level, there will be an explosion of resources. The Tang Empire wants to encourage plundering." Zhang Xiaobao was almost done washing. He stood there and waited for the clothes to dry. He raised another finger. Bai Go closed his eyes and pondered. After a while, Zhang Xiaobao changed his pants. He opened his eyes and said, "Yes, but what does it have to do with us going on a trip? Help you note down the location of the resources?" "Something like that. When you go on a trip, bring professionals with you. Most importantly, Xiao Bei is a patrol inspector of the Tang Empire, but she can't really put down her studies to patrol. My family's business is not omnipotent. When you go on a trip, help me take a look. I don't believe that you can be bribed. You just said that you've been fighting with each other. Whoever gets benefits will speak up for him. He can't afford to lose face, right?" Zhang Xiaobao raised another finger. Bai Go nodded and signaled to Zhang Xiaobao to come closer. Zhang Xiaobao had just put on his clothes and came over with his eyes open. Bai Go grabbed Zhang Xiaobao's hand and pried open all 10 fingers. He said, "Don't wait for me to ask you one by one. Say it yourself. Say it all the way to the 10th finger." "How can there be so many?" Zhang Xiaobao was unhappy. "Also counting the toes." Bai Go did not let go. Chapter 946. Bai Go pestered Zhang Xiaobao and asked Zhang Xiaobao to tell him all his plans. Zhang Xiaobao, on the other hand, insisted that life was not easy. When he was asked too much, he would answer perfunctorily. For example, the purpose was to let a group of elders find local specialties during their trip and bring them back to him so that he could consider whether he could plant them, especially the precious medicinal herbs. Such a small matter was not worth Zhang Xiaobao's attention. As for whether there were more important matters, of course there were, but Zhang Xiaobao did not want to tell Bai Go everything. Otherwise, when traveling, there would be too many things on his mind, and the elders would not have a good time. Only when there was a need, Zhang Xiaobao would ask someone to send a message to the elders and ask them to help. Bai Go saw that he could not get an answer, so he could only give up temporarily and continue fishing. Today, he caught a grass carp and consecutively caught a few more grass carps. Finally, his interest was exhausted. He said that the other fish in the water had been eaten by the black fish and went back with Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao accompanied Bai Go back to the yamen. At the same time, he asked someone to pull the net and catch a lot of fish. All kinds of freshwater fish added up to 300 catties. They brought it back as an extra dish for the guards at noon. In fact, Zhang Xiaobao was not the only one who ate fish. Hong Nong also specially formed a team to catch fish. When the water rushed, many fish directly flowed into the fields. When the water receded, it would be even more difficult for them to come out again. In places where the water was deep, they directly used nets. In places where the water was shallow, they rolled up their trousers and used hooks to fish. In other places, before the food Zhang Xiaobao gathered arrived, they boiled the fish into soup and let the laborers eat it with steamed buns or rice. Bai Go came in a hurry and received an answer. However, he could not rush back immediately. He found a job in the yamen as an accountant and used his remaining energy. During the day, he took an hour or so to walk around the streets where the water receded and see the bustling scene at the construction site. Every time he saw a commoner who worked hard, he would first sigh with emotion. Their families had been destroyed, and they had lost their relatives. Not a single one of them had ever complained. They were all working hard. The more this was the case, the more Bai Go gritted his teeth as he looked at Yan Zheng, who was standing outside the south gate. He wished that he could use his knife to slice off Yan Zheng's flesh and cook it. However, he knew that it would only benefit Yan Zheng. Xiao Bei is really smart. She's a good child. Another day, Bai Go arrived at the south gate. He looked at Yan Zheng, who was firmly tied up and exposed to the elements. Yan Zheng's hair was messy, his skin was cracked, his eyes were lifeless, and his mouth was puckered. He felt very relieved. The reason he praised Xiao Bei was because when Xiao Bei first saw Yan Zheng, he had his teeth knocked out and said that he would not let him die a quick death. If Xiao Bei hadn't been sensible at that time, it would have been too easy for him to kill Yan Zheng with one sentence. Yan Zheng was behind the south gate and had never seen Bai Go up close. At this time, he saw that there was another person beside him who was still standing there. He thought that it was another person who had come to scold him. He struggled to turn his head to take a look. Perhaps he could gain some sympathy and leave a way out for his family. He saw an old man with a head full of white hair and a frosty beard. He stood there with his hands behind his back. He knew that he was not an ordinary person. He said in a hoarse voice that was almost inaudible, "One person's crime, one person's punishment. His family does not know." Bai Go saw that the other party did not even know who he was and sighed. "Yan Zheng, do you still remember me?" You are?" Yan Zheng opened his eyes and looked at the person beside him. He suddenly realized, you are the Minister of Revenue, Crown Prince Janshir by Long Zay. You are responsible for your own actions. I am the former Minister of Revenue. I was also the Hunan magistrate. When I was the Hunan magistrate, I did not encounter anything like Hong Nong. I admit that I am not a good person, but I am not as cruel as you. Don't tell me about your crimes. I don't care. Bai Go had planned to scold him, but suddenly he was not in the mood. But protect my children? In the next life. Don't mention the next life to me. I only ask about this life. I am a farmer. I can't protect anyone, let alone your children. If it were anyone else, I would not dare to protect them. His Majesty personally appointed Zhang Xiaobei and the other 9 people here. Who dares to interfere? His Majesty's edict has been sent to Japan. His Majesty's edict will come out soon. If Japan dares to not let your family come back, Wang Wan dares to gather the elites of the Tang Empire and attack Japan with the help of the gunboats. She does not care about the blood staining the mountains and rivers. However, maybe Zhang Xiaobao will be soft-hearted and can be flexible. But you have to live like you are now. Otherwise, when you die, Zhang Xiaobao will make your family suffer for you. Eat and sleep as you should. Don't let others force you. Bai Go threatened Yin Zhang and his family. Then he walked away with his hands behind his back. A glimmer of hope appeared in Yin Zhang's dim eyes. He shouted, I want to eat porridge, I want to live. Bai Go really did not know. When they were on the train, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had discussed the countermeasures. They would pretend to drown Yin Zhang's family, but in fact, they would take them far away from the Tang Empire. Zhang Xiaobao really did not want to kill Yin Zhang's daughter, but he was afraid that if he did not destroy the whole family, it would not be a deterrent. Bai Go was afraid that Yin Zhang's mind could not keep up and he would die. In that case, he would not be able to show others. He needed him to live so that every official who worked in the local government could see him. In the Yamen, Zhang Xiaobao had just sorted out the files. This time, the officials of Hunan province were involved in the case. There were a total of 613 people, from the top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the bottom. Their crimes were different, and they could be sentenced to life or death. However, all of them had to be sent to Chang, and some were already on the way, while some nearby were temporarily locked up. A large number of people will be sent down. No matter how light their crimes are, after Li Longji's edict, he can't continue to be an official. I plan to put the people who passed the entrance exam of Jinjia Academy in important positions. How should I tell Li Longji? Zhang Xiaobao put the list on the table and was worried. Wang Wan touched the list with her hand and shook her head. More than 600 people. It's shocking. It's really shocking. Okay, don't say that it's shocking. Hunan province is not Hunan province. There are other places, such as Shandong. There are only 600 people. In the whole Hunan province, there are no less than 10,000 officials. I'm very relieved. It's not a big proportion, so I still dare to arrest them. What I'm most afraid of is that there is not a good official, which makes me worry about whom to arrest. Of course, if we meet an international swindler, we must arrest him. He is rich, but he doesn't have the foundation of the higher-ups. I'm not afraid of him because the higher-ups can clear his name. But this time, I won't arrest the Japanese. If I do, it will make me look too incompetent. Do I need to arrest them to deal with them? I can cooperate with you to attack Japan because I don't like it, but I will never admit that I don't have the ability to directly attack a small figure who can't be found wrong. In the Great Tang, we must destroy a country when we attack, instead of fighting with words. Zhang Xiaobao's face was full of disdain. He shook his head like a teacher. Go and cook. Yesterday, Xiaobei asked people to send a lot of willow mushrooms from Old Willow Village. I want to eat willow mushrooms stewed with chicken. When Wang Wan heard that Zhang Xiaobao was going to talk about something else, she quickly asked him to cook. When Zhang Xiaobao walked to the back kitchen, she said, "If the country is not good, who do you blame? Every man has a responsibility. If the country is righteous, it will not change." If the country is not righteous, it will not change until death. I'm just saying. I didn't change. Don't you know how I spent the money I swindled? Some officials are not as good as me. They changed first. Willow mushrooms stewed with chicken? Even Xiao Bei can't say such a stupid thing. If willow mushrooms stewed chicken, what about hazel mushrooms and pine mushrooms? These are mushrooms that grow on real willow trees. The children of Old Willow Village gave them to Xiao Bei. On average, several willow trees can produce one mushroom. And I stewed it? Wait, I'll make malatang today. People say that there are 3,000 willow branches. Willow mushrooms should be boiled to eat. Stewed dishes should be eaten with the soup. Boiled dishes should be eaten fresh. Boiled dishes should be eaten fresh. And eaten with willow mushrooms should be eaten fresh and tender. If you don't believe me, you can boil the pine mushrooms, which are red mushrooms, to see how they taste and taste. How is this the Tang Dynasty? I'm a man full of talent, but I'm actually ordered around as a cook. The human heart is not what it used to be. It's really not what it used to be. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head and pushed the door open, leaving Wang Wan sitting there and laughing. After laughing, she looked at the back of the kitchen and murmured sweetly, I'm bullying you. Full of talent? I think you're full of evil tricks. Not to mention the Tang Dynasty. Even if you run to the primitive society, you'll still have to cook for me. I'm depending on you. Humph. Since they said they were going to eat malatang for lunch, they definitely had to eat it. However, Zhang Xiaobao was not stupid enough to make all the skewers himself. He found a few helpers to make the skewers, and he made the malatang soup himself. All kinds of things that could be used as traditional Chinese medicine were fried as seasonings. He also asked someone to extract pepper oil. He didn't use oil to fry pepper, but squeezed out pepper oil like how he squeezed bean oil. After that, he used lamb bones to make soup. When the soup was done, he used chicken to make soup. Then, he used another pot to make crucian carp soup. Finally, he mixed them together and used them to make malatang soup. Zhang Xiaobao didn't want to make soup with water and seasonings. Zhang Xiaobao was busy preparing the ingredients for the malatang soup. Just then, Bai Shu came back. As soon as he entered the door, he took a deep breath and praised, It smells good. The crucian carp that I caught with great difficulty yesterday is not cooked, right? I plan to raise it in a wooden basin and eat it. Grandpa Bai, the crucian carp you mentioned was made into soup by Xiaobao. Wang Wan immediately complained. Bai Shu looked at the soup and shook his head. No, the crucian carp is milky white. Don't bully this old man, because I don't understand. Your soup doesn't count the color of the seasonings and chili oil. It should be clear soup. Zhang Xiaobao came in with a plate of mushrooms. He pursed his lips and said, Grandpa Bai, have you ever seen anyone who doesn't have clear soup? If you don't believe me, don't eat it first. I will continue to make the soup into clear soup for you. I believe you, I believe you. This old man is hungry and can't afford it. Even if you say you're going to change the lake you and Kaiwan bought in Anxi from a saltwater lake to a freshwater lake, this old man will believe you. Bai Shu didn't care how Xiaobao made it. As long as there was something to eat, he believed that Xiaobao would make it delicious even if it was a simple scrambled egg with garlic sprouts. A small plate was placed in front of Bai Shu, who had just freshened up. There were tahini sauce, shrimp sauce, oyster sauce, a little bit of yellow wine and fermented bean curd, as well as chopped green onions and minced garlic. There were also rows of small bowls with various things in them, such as ginger juice for seafood, coriander and pepper paste for mutton, wasabi and soy sauce for sashimi, and so on. Wang Wan chose the seasonings herself. Zhang Xiaobao's plate was simple. There was only garlic sauce. Although hundreds of seasonings were made by him, he didn't like to eat them. He put some soy sauce and garlic because there was mutton liver in the mutton soup. Otherwise, he wouldn't put anything. If it was bland, he would put some salt. If it wasn't for the fact that Wang Wan had a heavy appetite and liked to eat things with strong flavors, he would have made a seafood hot pot with clear soup. He would only eat that fresh and not even salt, or eat it raw after killing the bacteria and parasites. Bai Shu was enjoying himself. He didn't care how little Xiaobao put in the seasonings. He knew that Xiao Bao's mastery of seasonings was unparalleled. It was the same for cooking. He didn't put in things if he could. He emphasized that the big things were invisible and the big things were silent. Huh. Who? Wine put more ice fish. Ah. Spicy, Xiao Bao. There are only 5 days left until the fall imperial examination. You should be back in the capital, right? Ah. Bai Shu put sesame oil and chili oil in the plate and kept breathing. Beside him, someone also had to serve him wine with ice at any time. Zhang Xiaobao was very helpless with Bai Shu's behavior. He said, "I'll be back tomorrow." Then he got up and went to make cucumber skin and stir-fried bamboo shoots for Bai Shu. He was really afraid that Bai Shu would have problems with the spiciness. All kinds of materials had been sent to Hongnong. Zhang Xiaobao didn't have time to follow them, so the inner courtyard took over. The people of the Serenade temple came early and signed a contract with the local people who had land. After the new seeds were planted, no matter how much they were produced, they couldn't be eaten by the people. Secondly, they couldn't be sold by the people. They had to be handed over to the people of the Serenade temple. If the yield was high, they would spread it elsewhere next year. If the yield was low, they would bring it back for research. The people only had to serve and get paid. The Serenade temple had money. The people in charge of building the railway had already planned the place. Wherever the railway passed, no farming, no building, and no deliberate destruction or digging. There was also a large area where the market would be built in the future. They circled a large area for farming temporarily. If necessary, they could dig it up at any time. In Old Willow Village, Xiao Bei and the others waited for the person in charge of taking care of the children. They packed their bags and brought many dolls to be sold in the capital. They said goodbye to the other children with tears in their eyes. Xiao Bei made an agreement with the other party. When the weather warmed up next year, either the 9 of them would come or get the children to play in the place where she lived. In the future, every time someone came to pick up the dolls and send them elsewhere to be sold, they would bring all kinds of seafood. Early the next morning, Xiaobei's team rushed to the train station and met up with her brother's team. They boarded the train and headed for the capital amidst the rumbling sound. "Brother, didn't you see that guy called Shuichiro Watanabe? He's a fool and wants to treat others as fools. He wants to bribe us with 300,000 strings of cash every year. Tell me, what can I do?" Xiao Bei sat opposite her brother and rolled a boiled egg on the table in the middle, showing off her cleverness to her brother. "You can't do it. Our family's Xiao Bei isn't stupid. Eat it quickly. You promised to eat a boiled egg a day. I heard that you didn't do it thoroughly when you were in Old Willow Village." Zhang Xiaobao pointed at the egg in his sister's hand and wanted to take it and peel it. Xiao Bei hurriedly stretched out her hands to protect it. Wait a moment. Let me adjust my mood and eat it with spicy sauce, okay? Brother, who told you that I didn't eat the egg? I said it was a joint report and a fingerprint. Do you want to take a look? Do you need to adjust your mood to eat a boiled egg? Throw it outside the train. I'll make you steamed egg cream. Zhang Xiaobao was about to get up and go to the dining car of the train. "No, I don't like to eat the yolk of boiled eggs. I like to eat salted eggs. I'll drink some water and eat it. I can't throw it away. I won't look at the joint name anymore. Actually, I know who it is. Whoever cares about me is the one who told you first. Brother, can you think of a way to make the yolk of boiled eggs better? You're so good." Xiao Bei couldn't bear to throw away an egg. She knew that there were people who couldn't eat eggs, so she turned around and gave her brother a difficult problem. She felt that it was very difficult. Unexpectedly, her brother Zhang Xiaobao didn't think much and immediately nodded. "Yes, it's very simple. Cut the boiled egg and take out the yolk first. Stuff the concave area between the 2 egg whites with meat stuffing and cover the yolk. Put the yolk where the egg whites are fried until they're golden brown. Steam the stuffing and pour the juice over them after they're cooked. Both the yolk and the yolk will be delicious. Do this in the future and make all 9 of you together." Xiao Bei nodded repeatedly as she listened. Her eyes were full of worship. For the sake of eating yolk, they could do so much. Wang Wan took Xiaobei's egg and peeled it. She said to Xiaobei, "Look at how much your brother spoils you." "Xiaobei, I heard that you almost compromised with that Shuichiro Watanabe." Xiaobei took the peeled egg and dipped it in the chili sauce that was brought over. She took a bite and swallowed it. She said, "I thought he was going to take out 100 million strings of cash, not 100 million won. I was so happy at first, but who knew that a poor thing like him couldn't take it out? It made me angry." In the future, if there's a situation like this where someone really gives you 100 million strings of cash, we don't want it, Zhang Xiaobao said. Xiaobei didn't understand. Why? He gave me 100 million strings of cash to atone for his crime. It'd be a waste not to take it. Xiaobei, let big sister ask you. Did he take out money to bribe the people of the Tang Empire because he harmed them? Wang Wan asked. Xiaobei nodded. That's why we can't take that money. Look at your brother. He's never used the premise of harming the people of the Tang Empire to earn money. Wang Wan continued to teach. What's the connection? Xiaobei clearly didn't understand. There's a connection. Xiaobei, Xiaohai, all of you, remember this. Your brother has countless unconventional methods to earn money, but he hasn't used any of them in the Tang Empire. If he's really using methods that harm the interests of the Tang Empire to earn money, your brother doesn't need to borrow the hands of others. Their little tricks are not worth mentioning in front of your brother. Wang Wan smiled smugly and pointed at Zhang Xiaobao as she spoke to the 9 children. Really? So the Japanese aren't powerful? Xiaobei looked at her brother as if she had found a new toy. Japanese? Your brother doesn't even need to do anything about the Japanese's little tricks. I'll deal with them. It's just a small trick. But I've never seen futures and warrants before. Moreover, the Japaneses are full of loopholes. Xiaobei, do you still remember the world in the story I told you? Wang Wan looked down on the Japanese and asked Xiaobei. I remember. They're so powerful. The people from that world have huge iron birds in the sky that can even throw things to the moon. If a few people from that world come to our Great Tang, will you and Big Brother be able to deal with them? Xiaobei blinked her eyes. Her mind was filled with the pictures that Wang Wan had described to her. She was very worried. Wang Wan curled her lips and said disdainfully, "There are indeed powerful people there, but even they tremble when they know that their opponent is your brother. Among that group of people, your brother may not be the first, but no one dares to treat him as the second. Over there, if your brother were to go bankrupt, countless of his enemies would follow him and lose everything. So, in the future, if someone uses the premise of harming the interests of the Tang Empire to bribe you, we won't accept any amount of money. Our family's money needs to be earned steadily. When the land produces more, there are more livestock and poultry, and there are more things we plunder from the outside. Our family's money will naturally increase." Xiaobei's blood boiled when she heard this. "Sister, so my brother is so powerful. But how did you know? We haven't competed." "Huh. You and my brother don't come from that world, do you?" Xiaobei told the truth. "You guessed right. Your brother and I come from that world to protect you guys. If we don't come, who will pamper you, right?" Wang Wan followed Xiaobei's words. Yes, then you can go to a more powerful world. Remember to take me with you. I want to compete with them. I want to stand on the sword and fly to the world where the stars are. At that time, I will have the universe C-suppressing wheel in my left hand, the star 8 trigrams banner in my right hand, and my feet. Xiaobei entered her own fantasy and told her brother and sister about the dream she had created. The full moon shone in the sky. As soon as the train arrived at the station, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately led their younger siblings into the palace. The palace gate, which should have been closed, was left open. Li Longji was still awake and waiting in Xingqing Palace. He wanted to get the latest news and the most accurate details from Zhang Xiaobao and the rest. After all, the news that came previously couldn't be too specific. Xiaobei represented the 9 children and was the first to speak. She told Li Longji how she received the order to rush to Hongnong immediately, how she swam across the water and saw a child from the school. Then, She told him how Zheng tried to cheat her and how she taught him a lesson. She even promoted the dolls from Old Willow Village to Lilongji. Finally, she mentioned that she had lent him 3 million strings of cash. Lilongji listened to Xiaobei's introduction and was furious. He said a few harsh words directed at the officials and praised Xiaobei and the rest. However, he seemed to have forgotten about the 3 million strings of cash that Xiaobei had mentioned. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to explain the reconstruction situation to Lilongji, Xiaobei stuck close to Xiao Yuan and muttered, "It's obvious that he doesn't want to return the money to us. Let's bring a few more dolls tomorrow and exchange them with the concubines in the palace. Even the worst of their things cost more than dolls. I knew he wouldn't give it to us. He'll probably stay at home and study tomorrow. Don't think about coming out. How much money can we get by exchanging dolls? When we were on the train, didn't brother say that he wanted to build an amusement park under our management? That's the most profitable. After the Japanese compensate us, perhaps brother will give us the money." Xiao Yuan had an expression that said, "I understand." Xiaobei hesitated and said, "Brother, if you really give us the money, let's not take it. When I said that I would take the money, I didn't expect anyone to return it. You guys support me, right?" "Yes, we support you. But if the Japanese compensate us, why don't we take it? We have money. The next time no one pays us back, we'll take it out. Otherwise, if we encounter an emergency again, we won't have any money to use." Xiao Yuan expressed her opinion. "All right, if they really compensate us, we'll take it. Tonight, we'll go back and sleep. After we've slept enough, we'll discuss the matter of the amusement park tomorrow. I plan to take out our small house and rent it out." Xiaobei also began to plan to work hard to earn money. "That's agarwood. We can build it according to our house using other wood. As for the decorations inside, we can replace them with cheap things." Xiao Yuan was obviously reluctant to rent the house to other children. "That's true. We'll think of other ways." Xiaobei lowered her head and fell into deep thought. Zhang Xiaobao was still talking to Lilongji. He didn't mention too much about the captured officials. He didn't need to care about them when they were sent to the capital. He needed Lilongji to cooperate and put pressure on the Japanese to send 200,000 railway workers to the Great Tang as soon as possible. He also needed to improve the tariff system so that they could engage in unequal economic trade and plunder more. Lilongji listened attentively and had people take note of it one by one. Now, under the influence of Zhang Xiaobao, he had become more pragmatic. He wasn't good at boasting about his reputation. He was willing to build up his reputation. The so-called building up his reputation was what Zhang Xiaobao told him. If he had money, he could build as tall as he wanted and as grand as possible. When he had nothing to do, he could travel and experience the magnificence of the rivers and mountains. He could go to Hainan and experience the winter and summer scenery. He could also play sea fishing and personally go to Lake Tai to fish for crabs. He could also look at the tides in Qiantang and go to the grasslands to admire the clear skies. This was his reputation. Compared to giving a lot of money to his subordinates and having them call him a fool behind his back, it was better to spend the money himself. Lilongji was fooled just like that. If someone were to ask him who was the best person in Great Tang, he would definitely say himself. The next person would be Zhang Xiaobao. The other officials were all afraid of him spending money. They had to persuade him to build a garden or go out for a stroll. How could they be compared to Zhang Xiaobao? Not only did he not persuade him, he even encouraged him and thought of ways to get money. Even if the imperial court couldn't fork out the money, he was willing to fork out the money himself. Thus, in order to go against that powerful country in the future, in order to be able to travel and build beautiful houses, Lilongji placed more and more importance on technology and money. Oh, he was placing more and more importance on the development of technology and economy. As for the construction of spiritual civilization, Zhang Xiaobao wasn't worried about it. Great Tang had very strict requirements in this regard. If a person did something immoral and was criticized by others, their face would turn red. The emperor also knew that if an official didn't do a good job and the people in the area suffered, he would have to issue an edict of guilt. Li Longji hadn't learned the ability to be righteous and not admit his wrongdoings. In Zhang Xiaobao's heart, he was a good emperor. Xiaobao. While Li Longji was imagining how fragrant the pie Zhang Xiaobao painted for him was, he asked, "Is it because once the railway is built, it will take less time to go from the capital to the north of Hebei province, and there won't be too many guards?" "Your Majesty, you can't just think about going to the north of Hebei province. There aren't many good sceneries there. You can see the ice shallows, the fish breaking through the ice, the snow and dew, the tigers roaring, the mountains quiet, and the horses galloping." Zhang Xiaobao belittled the northeast. Wang Wan immediately played along. Xiaobao is right. Moreover, the north of Hebei province isn't very beautiful. It's nothing more than the scenery of the northern country. Thousands of miles are covered in ice and thousands of miles are fluttering in snow. The mountains and rivers there aren't very beautiful, although it has attracted countless heroes. Xiaobao, tell me the truth. How long will it take to go there after the railway is built? Li Longji was tempted by the two people's words. "Let me estimate. According to the current power of the steam engine, it will take about 10 days to go from Chang to Jili province. There is a place in Jili province where the sand is fine and the distance to the shallow water is very long. There are white seagulls as light as clouds and silver fish as hanging quilts under them. The reef is not beyond the horizon and pearls are in the clam everywhere." Zhang Xiaobao said casually, and then said to Wang Wan, "You've seen too much of it, right?" Wang Wan nodded. Not far, not far. It's only 10 days. Plus the sightseeing, 1 month is enough. We can go there next time." At this moment, Li Longji wished he could grow a pair of wings and fly there to have a look. Zhang Xiaobao struck while the iron was hot. "Your Majesty, the Tang Empire is yours. Isn't it easy for you to go there? You're the emperor. It's normal for the emperor to look at his own empire. 10 days is too slow to travel to Jili province. The new steam engine is coming out soon. When the time comes, even if you go to Luzhou, as long as the railway is built, I guarantee that you'll reach there in 5 days." "That's right, Your Majesty. When you reach Luzhou, you'll be able to see the real blue sea and silver sand. You'll be able to see the coconut grove at night, the sea and the sky merging into one, and the fishing boats singing at night," Wang Wan chimed in. Li Longji knew that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were tempting him, but he also knew that they were not lying. The place they were talking about was indeed beautiful. "That's right. I'm the Emperor of Tang. Why can't I go there and have a look?" It was just money. The imperial court's treasury was getting more and more money. Even if the officials objected, Xiaobao's family was rich. Spending some of his money would not make him poor. Especially with the radio station, where could he not govern? With that thought in mind, Li Longji asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Xiaobao, if the imperial court can't pay for the railway, will your family?" Li Longji did not finish his words, but his meaning was clear. Xiao Bei pouted at the side. "Xiao Yuan, how can you do that? Uncle Emperor didn't mention our money, and he wants our family to pay for it. Fortunately, I can make money. What if I can't?" Xiao Yuan smacked his lips. "If brother can't make money, we'll have to live a hard life. We won't have so many guards when we go out. The inner court can't change shifts every few hours. We'll have to work from morning to night. It's terrifying just thinking about it." Perhaps Xiao Bei was thinking about the consequences of not having money. He was so scared that his face turned pale. He said fearfully, "Fortunately, life now is not a dream." Zhang Xiaobao could not hear his younger brother and sister's words. After Li Longji finished speaking, he replied, "Your Majesty, if you need my family to pay for it, my family will definitely do so. However, my family and the national treasury do not need to spend money. It's very simple to raise the cost of the railway. Money is not a problem." Li Longji nodded. "We like to hear Xiaobao speak." The servants around them agreed. Who wouldn't like to hear Zhang Xiaobao say that money is not a problem? Then go and get it done as soon as possible. Li Longji urged, "Your Majesty, the matter of money is easy to solve. The Great Tang Bank has a lot of money. If you don't want the money, I'll help you with the operation. The annual profits won't be any less than the national treasury. Furthermore, when the deposit, withdrawal, and loan reserves reach a certain ratio, there's a lot of money that can be withdrawn at any time. In fact, the railway can be directly issued with bonds. Once the railway is built, the trains can be operated. Whether it's transporting people or goods, as long as there's not too much personal profit involved, and there's not too much that's harmful to the public's interests, the railway can be quickly recovered. So, Wang Wan continued, "So, Your Majesty, in the future, when you look for Xiao Bao, don't worry about money. Xiao Bao is afraid of many things, but he's not afraid of a lack of money. Xiao Bao's meaning is that if the railway is built, people will die. Parents will lose their children, wives will lose their husbands, and children will lose their fathers. For a family, this is too heavy a burden. The reason why I fight so viciously is because I want to intimidate others, so that in the future, I won't fight so many battles. Not fighting doesn't mean that I'm afraid. I just don't want to do it. If you force me to do it, Great Tang's men don't lack hot-bloodedness. If Great Tang's soldiers arrive at a city and surrender, they will be provided with food, clothing, medical care, and education. If Great Tang's soldiers arrive at a city and don't surrender, the city will be destroyed and slaughtered." Wang Wan's first words made Li Longji feel very gratified, but the second half was a bit frightening. Li Longji knew that Wang Wan valued the lives of her soldiers. She gave them a lot of compensation, so much so that some people were willing to take the initiative to die in battle. And Zhang Xiaobao was ruthless, not caring about internal matters. Thus he said, "With Cuckoo here, I'm worried about Great Tang. Didn't you say that 200,000 people would come from Japan to build the railway? Not enough? How about this? There are still the strong Kunlun slaves. I'll think of a way to get people from other places to help build the railway. My Great Tang's people can just watch from the side. How about it?" Zhang Xiaobao didn't care about how history evaluated Li Longji. He only knew that the Li Longji in front of him made him feel very comfortable. He was the emperor, so he had to act like one. What kind of emperor was an emperor if he didn't love the people? With Your Majesty's words, this subject will forge steel. Even if I have to use part of Great Tang's reserves, if Your Majesty can mobilize 1 million non-Tang craftsmen for this subject will make a military pledge. Within a year, this subject will build 30,000 li of railway. This subject isn't worried about money, but this subject is afraid that there won't be enough manpower." Zhang Xiaobao said fiercely, 1 million workers to build 30,000 li of railway? On average, 100 people would need to build 3 li of railway a year. 3 li, not 3 kilometers, was less than 1,500 meters, or 1,400 meters. 100 people couldn't build 4 meters in a day? Li Longji did not want Zhang Xiaobao to make a military pledge. He said, "There's no need for that. Just do your best. How far can you go with 30,000 li of railway? From the capital to Jili province, and from the capital to Luzhou, we can still build other places." Zhang Xiaobao did some calculations and felt that there was still some left. "Can we go to Tubo?" Li Longji asked again. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head like a rattledrum. "That place doesn't have the technology to build railways. If you want to go, it's better to take a boat." Wang Wan nodded as well. "Tubo won't do. Moreover, it's impossible to cross the Yellow River and the Yangtze River by bridge. We'll have to change to a boat." Chapter 947. When Li Longji saw that Zhang Xiaobao was adamant about not being able to build a railway to Tibet, Wang Wan chimed in as well. She seemed very disappointed. In truth, he wanted to build a railway with Chang, and as the center, and extend to the entire Great Tang. At that time, he would be able to transport goods during normal times and soldiers during wartime. He would also be able to roam around everywhere. The main reason was that it was convenient. He believed that with the development of technology, trains would be able to run faster. Then every trip he made would be like a trip to the hibiscus garden. If there were enemies at the borders, he would be able to deploy his troops from Chang until Lingnan. The fastest time he could take would be 10 or even 8 days. When he thought about this, Li Longji could not help but think about the problem of another country that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's master, who was in hiding, had mentioned. Xiaobao. It's rumored that there's a very powerful country. Apart from being able to fire cannonballs from Luzhou to the capital, how fast is that country's troops? Can they reach Luzhou in 5 days? 5 days? Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan in shock. Wang Wan replied to Zhang Xiaobao with a Li Longji is already daring enough expression and helped Zhang Xiaobao to answer. Your Majesty, it said that they can reach Luzhou in 1 day, including when they receive the news, order the troops to be deployed, prepare the weapons and supplies, arrive at the location, set up the defensive line, and complete the first wave of suppressive attacks. Don't tell me they can fly? Li Longji suddenly felt his joy fade away, and a sense of pressure washed over him. Fly? Why would they need a day to fly? I only have a rough guess. Wang Wan did not dare to tell Li Longji how fast her and Xiaobao's troops were. A day? A day was enough for a bomber to bomb a country on the other side of the world twice. Li Longji panted heavily and gradually relaxed. He thought about it. What else can I do? Fear alone would not solve the problem. Speeding up development was the most important thing. When the time came and the military could not keep up, he could at least submit to them. Xiaobei whispered to little Yuan, "Is there really a powerful country?" Perhaps. Xiao Yuan didn't dare to be sure. He then said something very philosophical. When we use a small stick to push aside a small stone to look at the ants hiding behind it, perhaps someone is thinking of pushing aside the earth to observe the sun that is like a firefly in their eyes. What about the moon? Xiao Bei began to worry, seeing that Li Longji had nothing else to do for the time being. Zhang Xiaobao said, "Your Majesty, it's already late. Your Majesty should rest early. The technical department is currently researching something that's even more useful than the steam engine. They're also thinking of a way to refine petroleum. When that time comes, our military's combat strength will be further improved." Ah, good. Tomorrow morning, I will order the Supreme Court, the Censorate, and the Ministry of Justice to interrogate criminals. It's time for the fall quarter examinations. You and Cuckoo should rest well for the next few days. Li Longji was so agitated that he was no longer sleepy. He could not think of anything to say, so he waved his hand and ordered someone to send Zhang Xiaobao and the rest out of the palace. Zhang Xiaobao was in a good mood. He even made a few snacks such as stir-fried squid, grilled mutton, and other snacks that could be eaten as teeth-grinding snacks. He brought his younger siblings to eat supper, washed up, and then went to bed. There were still 3 days before the fall quarter examinations. The news of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returning to the capital spread like wildfire. Some of the candidates who participated in the fall quarter examinations were happy, while others were disappointed. Those who were happy wanted to show off their talents. Even if the top scorer had already been decided, they could still fight for second place. Because of Zhang Xiaobao's participation, the second place in the fall quarter examinations might become the top scorer in the hearts of others. Those who were disappointed were easy to understand. They did not intend to pass the examinations this time. They just wanted to familiarize themselves with the atmosphere of the examinations. Free food and lodging for a month did not seem to be enough. Chang'an was expensive. There were even some candidates who took advantage of the time to go sightseeing. They belonged to the category of people who were well off and did not care about saving money for free food and lodging. On the afternoon of the third day near the evening, they organized academies near Chang'an sent their students to the capital. Just as the evening lights were about to be lit, a large ship sailed from the west on the waterway south of Chang'an. The flag on the ship fluttered in the wind, welcoming the afterglow of the setting sun. The words Jinjia could be seen on the flag. Immediately, the noise at the docks disappeared. The students did not make a sound because they wanted to see how the people from the Jinjia Academy looked like. Usually, the teacher often talked about the Jinjia Academy. It made people feel unsatisfied and wanted to compete. Sanshui County had a waterway that led directly to the capital. Seeing that the Jinjia Academy did not take the shortcut instead of the main road, they did not know what to do. The workers at the docks were silent because this was the first time they saw a large ship on the water. They had seen many bigger ships in the past. However, no matter how many ships they had seen, they could not compare to the ship in front of them. The ships they had seen in the past were either for trade or goods. There were countless cables on them, and most of them were worn out. There were officials and rich people on them, and they were as bright as spring. There were also soldiers in formation, and they were as black as iron. The ship that was approaching the shore gave people a special feeling, but they could not tell the specific difference at the moment. The color dyed the fruits of autumn, like leaves and branches. When the wind blows, the glow is warm. It is soft but not soft. It is hard but not dissatisfied. It is end but not strong. It is clustered but not tight. Before the dance, the heart is moved. It is surging without waves. In a trance, the sky echoes far away. It gives people the feeling like a student was helping the workers at the docks analyze the differences between the incoming ships. Towards the end, he didn't know how to describe it. Beside him, there was a child holding a yellow bristle grass in his hand. He jumped over and continued the student's words. Like the Jinjia Academy, the white dew is frost. The so-called lover is on the other side of the water. Yes, that's right. How is the layout of the attic on the ship arranged? How are the colors applied? It actually gives people the feeling of spring and autumn, as if it has lived through the 4 seasons and has never forgotten the cold and warmth. This is the Jinjia Academy. The student shook his head and sighed. He was not facing the sharpness, but the depth. The ship and the water were in harmony. It was both distant and near. The ship of the Jinjia Academy slowly approached the shore in silence and anticipation. It was only when someone on the ship called that the workers at the docks woke them up. They were busy throwing ropes and helping. When the ship came to a stop, a staircase came down and people began to walk from the ship to the shore. The students of Jinjia Academy lined up in 2 rows and walked down steadily step by step. Their eyes were clear and unbiased. They were neither arrogant nor pretentious. Just like the ship they had just seen, they were calm and unperturbed. The people on the shore stared at them. They saw that the people from Jinjia Academy were wearing brown shoes and bright gray robes. When they walked, they could see that they were wearing light black pants. Their hair was tied up loosely with a silk scarf on their heads. On their chests, there was a light green word Jinjia. When all the students of the Jinjia Academy got off the ship, they split into groups and boarded the carriages that came to pick them up. So this is the famous Jinjia Academy. A student stared at the people of the Jinjia Academy without blinking. When the carriages moved toward the city gate and gradually became small dots, he said enviously, "Yes." Another student said, "While we were worrying about whether we could pass the exam, they already knew how to be an official. It has been 7 years. Not a single person from the Jinjia Academy who came to take the exam failed, and I have never heard of anyone resigning. The only one who left his position was the county magistrate who commanded the people to save themselves on the banks of the Wei River during the heavy snow 5 years ago. He died from overwork. After that, the Jinjia Academy immediately added a class to recover a lot of energy through a short period of deep sleep. The Jinjia Academy is called the Jinjia Academy for a person. The Tao is vast, but it is in the center of the water. The arrival of the students of the Jinjia Academy made some of the students who wanted to take advantage of the fall quarter examinations lose confidence. The students who had not seen it with their own eyes at the docks heard that more than 100 people from the Jinjia Academy had come this time. With them here, the requirements for admission would definitely be raised. They were under great pressure. The scholars of the Jinjia Academy had no time to care about what others thought. After they were arranged to stay in a courtyard with 4 entrances behind the savant's restaurant, they bathed, ate, and rested for a while. Then, they received the information sent by Zhang Xiaobao. The content of the information was about the current situation in Hunan province. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan listed some ideas and asked them to look at them and improve or change them. The scholars looked at the information very seriously. To them, compared to the matters arranged by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, the fall quarter examinations were not that important. This was because the two of them needed people who could succeed when faced with adversity, not people who only had good results, but would say that they had not adapted to the situation when it came to concrete matters. Only when the sun was about to rise, and those who had memorized the contents of the materials and had their own ideas fell asleep one by one. At noon, Zhang Xiaobao brought a few chefs over to personally cook for the students. There were a total of 120 scholars in this year's fall quarter examinations. A portion of them were lacking in various aspects, so they continued to struggle and study in preparation for next year's spring quarter examinations. Because the great Tang had developed too quickly in recent years, many officials could not keep up with the pace. Thus, Li Longji was not satisfied. After discussing with Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and 10 some other important officials, they decided to change a batch of officials. As a result, there would be imperial examinations every year. Some of them even had the ability to do things, but they did not understand the various scriptures well enough. Thus, they were given a chance to become an official. As for the previous officials, they would have to relearn something like the party school. The shortest would be half a year, and the longest would be 3 years. They would be paid, and the land that was given to them would not be taken back. Those who had completed their studies would be rearranged. Those who still could not complete their studies would be given a pension and allowed to retire. Thus, those who had the ability and the will to fight were not afraid of not having a chance. Zhang Xiaobao did not care too much about the details. The reason why he asked for a chef to come was because he did not want to let the 120 scholars eat from the same big pot. Otherwise, he would just take a spade and choose a big pot to cook for 120 people. It was very easy to cook 1 dish per pot. In the past, when he was in the labor camp to learn new skills, he had done this many times. I don't have money. The food in there is really not good, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang, one who had come over to watch him while he was cooking. Why is it not good? Wang did not understand clearly enough. Let's talk about the food first. It makes people speechless. Zhang Xiaobao weighed the dish with a spoon and then put the chopped green onions into the oil. Eat cornbread. Wang was puzzled. You wish. How expensive is the corn flour? How big is the price of 2 cornbread per person? It makes people look like they are being abused. What we eat is the sponge cake. The sponge cake is big, and we use the worst flour. As long as it is fermented well, we won't be able to tell anything from the appearance. When we are cooking, we use whatever is cheap. If there is an early morning market nearby, it will save money. We can pick up some vegetable leaves and get some coarse salt. Have you seen the frozen chicken rack? The cost is 80 cents to 1 renminbi per chicken. Many people buy them because they are not a good breed of dog. Put 2 in a pot and fry the vegetables until they are done. Finally, scoop a spoon of gutter oil and pour it into the pot to stir. Well, this is called the oil slick. When Zhang Xiaobao was talking, he put the spoon out of the pot. Wei Wei followed the spoon. The charcoal fire below was strong enough. With a whoosh, the whole pot was on fire. Wang felt distressed and said, "You only eat that? I won't eat it. I've tasted it twice, and I won't eat it in the future. Only poor people eat it. I'll give some of the money I stole to discipline them, and they'll be treated well. What's the point of being a leader? I'll respect whoever can teach me some skills, and I'll beat those who can't. If you are so good, why are you still cooking? I am still moving bricks. My body needs exercise." The vegetables in Zhang Xiaobao's hands were done. He washed the pot, put in the oil again, and prepared to cook. Listening to you, it is quite interesting. Wang Wan's knowledge of that place came more from the publicity. She had not experienced it personally. It is a pity that you don't have a chance to try it. Over there, the rich are the masters and the poor can't fight. Even if you want to be a grandson, you have to line up. You also have to give half of your cake to those who can fight but have no money. In that place, you are not afraid of tiring work, but you are afraid of no work. No matter how tiring the work is, you can eat your fill. You are either beaten or beaten. Zhang Xiaobao cooked the new dishes and told Wang Wan as if he was telling a funny story. The cooks worked hard. In less than half an hour, the dishes were ready. 8 hot dishes, 1 soup, and 4 cold plates were served to the table where the students ate. The students were already in their seats, but they were standing next to their seats. Zhang Xiaobao cooked personally, so they did not dare to sit and wait. Zhang Xiaobao carried a dish and put it on the table closest to him. He clapped his hands and said, "Okay, sit down. Everyone can have at most 3 cups of wine. White wine is not allowed. First, allow my wife to speak to everyone, please." The students felt much more relaxed. They looked at Wang Wan and did not dare to look at her for too long. Wang Wan was dressed up today, so she was too bright and dazzling. What is there to say? During the exam, write well. After you finish the exam, you are not allowed to sleep in there. Chiu Han, if it is cold, I will ask someone to send you some charcoal. Don't expect me to give you any notes. Those who are sick from the cold will be thrown to the medical school and let the students there practice. Okay, it is Xiaobao's turn to speak. Wang Wan said casually and let Zhang Xiaobao take over. The students looked at Zhang Xiaobao again and waited for him to speak. Zhang Xiaobao picked up a cup of wine, coughed, and said, "This it is a long story. Eat well, drink well, cheers." The students were stunned and raised their cups. Chapter 948. The fall quarter examination was just around the corner. The atmosphere in the capital suddenly became tense. It seemed that even the air was different from before. It was filled with anxiety and uneasiness. There were obviously more people patrolling the streets. The shouting in the restaurants and inns began to become urgent. The people who sold the so-called subjects were hiding like mice. Teams of boats from Sanshui County transported grain and meat to the capital. The merchants were happy but helpless. If it was last year, they could sell more. However, this year, Zhang Xiaobao said that if anyone dared to raise the price by more than 10%, they should not blame him for being impolite. Whether the rumors were true or false was unknown. In the spirit of believing that it was true rather than not, the merchants of Chang unsecretly cried while controlling the price. With the rising and falling of the cost of goods, they timely adjusted the increase of profits from selling goods or renting houses to maintain between 5% and 10%. I didn't say that. When Zhang Xiaobao heard the news, he felt wronged when facing the merchants of Chang, and who carefully controlled the increase of profits. Just take it that you said it. Wang Wan had just returned from her mother-in-law and mother's place. She had a lot of wool in her hands. She was assigned the task of knitting scarves for her 3 younger siblings. She asked Zhang Xiaobao to help hold the thread so that she could spin it into a ball. Zhang Xiaobao raised his 2 arms and cooperated with Wang Wan's small movements back and forth. The wool brushed down. He said, "Why should I say that the price increase is temporary? How much can it increase? The profit overflow of 30% has reached the limit. The consumption demand is obvious. The students' food and accommodation are all provided by us. I also brought things from Sanshui County. Do I need to stand up and threaten them personally? I'm not that despicable. Then you go and clarify it in the newspaper." Wang Wan gave an idea. "If I clarify it, people will misunderstand it as encouragement. They dare to increase the profit by more than 100%. No, I have to find the person who spread the news. If it's a merchant, I'll let him close down. If it's an official, I'll let Xiao Bei and the others go to his house for a heart-to-heart talk." Wang Wan quickly finished 1 round and changed again. She smiled and asked, "Is there a need to ban people from trading? Someone clearly wants to roast me on a fire. Just think about it. A single word from me, Zhang Xiaobao, is more effective than a decree from the imperial court. What do I need the imperial court for? I had nothing to do but talk to him, and everything was resolved." The problem was that the focus of talking didn't seem to be on me, but on Li Longji. With one word, I can decide the fate of the people in Chang'an. With another word, can I aspire for the throne? In a while, accompany me to the palace and find Li Longji to investigate. Once I find the culprit, I won't be able to sleep peacefully. Zhang Xiaobao said angrily and passed the message to Xiao Bei. Seeing that there was work to do, Xiao Bei was eager to give it a try. Today, Li Longji didn't hold a court meeting. The money from the harvest was in place. The money collected by the government was deposited in the local Tang bank. A portion of the grain was in circulation, and a portion was collected. The tax revenue was more than 135 million strings of coins, which was nearly 30 million more than last year. With money, when Li Longji was in a good mood, he went to the royal zoo that he had originally built and devoted himself to scientific research. He used the corn that he tried to grow on his own land to feed the 2 large dogs sent from the distant Tubo. He wanted to change the eating habits of the 2 dogs. Other dogs could eat porridge, but he didn't believe that the 2 dogs in front of him couldn't. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came looking for him, they couldn't help but praise the 2 dogs in their hearts. They were too beautiful, too mighty. They didn't need to stand up. Just by standing on all 4s, they could reach the height of a person's waist. They had long hair all over their bodies, big heads, noses, and eyes. If they had to find an animal to compare them to, they were more similar to African lions. Are you trying to make them believe in Buddhism? Become vegetarians? These 2 mongrels are quite pitiful, Zhang Xiaobao said sympathetically as he drew an inverted cross in front of himself. Wang Wan nodded. Mongrels should have a more specific name. What do you think of calling them Tibetan Mastiffs? Let's call them Tang Mastiffs. I think someone fed them meat before Li Longji came this morning. Otherwise, they would have been howling by now. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the 2 Tibetan Mastiffs, glaring at Li Longji. He tried his best not to laugh out loud. In his opinion, the 2 Tibetan Mastiffs were ordinary. They could not compare to the black dog Wang Wan saved in Luzhou and its children. Li Longji tossed out 10 handfuls of corn. When he saw that the Mastiffs didn't eat them, he clapped his hands in disappointment. When he turned around and saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he said with a smile, as expected, "These mongrels are different from ordinary dogs. Actually, we can make them vegetarians. It'll just take some effort," Zhang Xiaobao suggested. Wang Wan glared at Zhang Xiaobao. Li Longji waved his hand. "Forget it. A vegetarian mongrel is not a mongrel. Why aren't the 2 of you studying at home? Do you want to see the new animals as well? Your Majesty, there's a rumor recently that I don't allow the prices in Chang and to fluctuate too much. However, I didn't say that." Zhang Xiaobao felt wronged. "We know. We were the ones who said it," Li Longji admitted without hesitation. "HM?" Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were stunned at the same time. They had found the culprit. Unfortunately, they couldn't seal the palace gates. Even if Xiao Bei came, it wouldn't have much effect. "Xiaobao, you 2 worry too much. I'm afraid that the prices in Chang'an are too high. That's why I came up with this idea. It's working." Li Longji looked very proud. Zhang Xiaobao didn't say anything. Wei Wei turned to look at her godfather, Gao Lisher. Her meaning was very clear. "Do you think I can let the prices reach an uncontrollable level and not do anything?" Gao Lisher glanced at Li Longji. Li Longji and Wei Wei nodded. Gao Lisher then said, "Xiaobao, recently, a Japanese envoy came to the court. He went to all the princes and said that Zhang Xiaobao can decide the affairs of the Tang Empire with one word. The people only know of Xiaobao's name and don't know of the emperor's reputation. Thus, His Majesty decided to help them and let your reputation rise again. When the time comes, all the people who should show up will show up and be dealt with in one fell swoop." Your achievements are indeed remarkable. Many people have jumped out. Xiaobao, your prestige is still there. Look, the price control, it is really amazing. You said that the price increase can't be more than 10%. The merchants can steadily set the price increase between 5% and 10%. It saves them a lot of trouble. What else could Zhang Xiaobao say? He silently accepted the fact that he was used as a tool. However, he was still a little dissatisfied. Your Majesty, why don't you say it in your own name? Are you afraid that you're not as good as me? TSK, I'm not as good as you? I'm afraid that Xiao Bei and the others don't have time to study. Once I say it, I'm afraid that the officials below will use it for personal gain. Xiao Bei will jump up and down to catch people again. I don't want Xiao Bei and the others to kidnap a group of 8th to 9th rank officials to Hanyuan Palace for a stroll during the court meeting. Li Longji's expression was lively as he curled his lips. He looked like he was doing it for the good of his younger siblings. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it. It was true. His words were the power of the people. Li Longji's words were called policy. With policy, there would be countermeasures. The better the policy, the better the countermeasure. Xiao Bei had just had her fun, and her heart hadn't calmed down. Once she saw that there was a problem, of course, she had to interfere. She didn't have other channels to deal with the officials and could only drag them to Hanyuan Palace. Was Hanyuan Palace a place to deal with small officials? No wonder the officials that Xiao Bei had caught were dealt with so viciously by Li Longji. He couldn't blame Xiao Bei and could only vent his anger on the officials that were caught. Even if it was a small matter, he had to deal with the bigger ones. Otherwise, he would be letting down the name of Hanyuan Palace. Since that's the case, I'm relieved. Zhang Xiaobao planned to go back and teach his younger siblings. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to leave, but Li Longji stopped him. Xiaobao, let's have lunch together. Recently, the people at the zoo said that there are too many animals. It's just for viewing. There's no need to eat a large group. It's too expensive. Let's eat a few first. Zhang Xiaobao raised his head to look at the sky and pondered. After a while, he didn't reply to Li Longji. He pulled Wang Wan and whispered together. After he finished whispering, he returned to his senses and said to Li Longji, "If there's no one else at noon, just pick a large one and kill it to eat. The others are still useful." What are they useful for? Winter is coming. It's not easy to feed animals that eat grass. If we really feed them fresh grass, the price of grass will be more expensive than meat. I also want to ensure a profit. The zoo's money belongs to me. I plan to build a garden at the beginning of spring next year. Li Longji placed more importance on his own private money. The main thing was that no officials would object if he took it out to spend. He really wanted to know how Zhang Xiaobao would find a new way to spend his private money while guaranteeing the current profits. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at Wang Wan. Wang Wan motioned for him to speak. So he said, "Your Majesty, actually, the zoo doesn't have to pay to raise the animals." "Then who will pay?" Li Longji pointed to a pavilion not far away and asked Zhang Xiaobao to go over and slowly explain. The zoo wasn't open today. There was a stove in the pavilion, so it wasn't cold at all. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sat next to each other and began to introduce the zoo to Li Longji. "Your Majesty, in the past, we collected entrance fees and sold some animal and bird parts, such as hair and feathers, etc. When there were too many animals, we would kill one and freeze it. We would then divide it into portions and sell it to people who wanted to eat it. Together with the vendors' fees, it was quite easy to support the zoo. Now, the scale is getting bigger and bigger. If we kill too many animals, it won't sell well. I just discussed with Cuckoo. Cuckoo's idea is to have someone else pay to raise the animals. There are two ways. One is to name it. For example, a panda. Find a beautiful one that doesn't have a name. Between the clouds and the water will pay for it. If it's called Haha, then it's called Haha. If it's called Haha, then it's called Haha. If Xiao Bei pays for it, then it's called Hihi. It's an advertisement." Li Longji thought for a moment and nodded. "Okay, the second way. The second way is to prepare it for someone who really likes animals. Sell the animal to him alive for a sum of money first. It belongs to him. He should also solve the problem of food and shelter. However, he can't casually take it home to raise it. He has to keep it in the zoo. He can pay for his animals to build a house and put the animals in it. He can stipulate that he has the right to let the breeder take the animals out a few times a month and let them follow him to a safe place to play. He needs to pay the breeder a sum of money, which is to say, the zoo. Thus, his identity will be revealed. When he has nothing to do, he will take 2 camels out to go shopping, which will immediately attract a lot of attention. Zhang Xiaobao then talked about the second way he and Wang Wan came up with. Li Longji and Gao Lishir thought for a moment. The first way was okay. The money spent on advertising was not wasted. As for the second way, Xiaobao, the second way seems unreasonable. If he buys it, why can't he take it home? If he keeps it in the zoo for people to see, shouldn't he also collect some money? I can't bully people, right? Li Longji thought it was unreasonable. There was another sentence he didn't say. That is, if I really lack money, why should I ask random people for money? If I let you, Zhang Xiaobao, take it, will you dare to not take it? It's better to target you than to bully others. At this time, Wang Wan said, Your Majesty, it's different. He doesn't know how to raise animals. If he raises them himself, they will die. If he wants to raise them himself, he won't sell them. When Xiaobao and I were in the countryside, we saw cattle rearing. Some rich people bought cows, but they always died. I don't know if it was because the feng shui was bad or they couldn't find a good breeder. When they finally survived, the cows became thin and couldn't work anymore. They found someone who was good at raising cattle. When they couldn't bring this person back to their home, they placed the cattle in this person's home to raise. 10 or so cattle were enough to plow a large piece of land. Jean Gui, not only were they responsible for the feed, but they also had to build a cowshed in that person's home. What if the cows die? Gao Lishir asked. It depends on what was said before. If it's compensation, then it's compensation. But if it's compensation, the person who raised the cows also has to pay more. Let's try and see who's willing to buy. Li Longji was tempted. If he could sell half of them, it would be another large sum of money. Afraid that others wouldn't be willing to buy, Li Longji waved at a palace maid and called her over. He asked, You heard what I said just now. I ask you, if I sell you animals in my zoo, are you willing to buy them? The palace maid seemed a little nervous. She shook her head and nodded. Your Majesty, this servant can't sell. This servant has to serve Your Majesty. If Your Majesty really wants to sell, this servant wants to order a tiger on behalf of second uncle's family. Your second uncle? Gao Lishir asked in puzzlement. He's a 6th-rank military officer. When he has nothing to do, he likes to go hunting. When there's something to do, this servant will follow second uncle's family to take a look. Second uncle likes to come to the zoo and likes tigers. The palace maid told him about her mistake and looked at Gao Lishir nervously. Oh. Li Longji nodded. He didn't care if the palace maid sneaked out of the palace. It wasn't a strange thing. Everyone knew it. He couldn't pursue it at the moment. Otherwise, who would dare to tell the truth to him? Ignoring the palace maid's mistake, Li Longji said to the palace maid, Find someone to send a message to your second uncle. Tell him that the zoo will take out animals from today. If he wants to buy them, let him go to the zoo to discuss with the manager. The palace maid nodded again and carefully returned to her previous position with a nervous and excited look on her face. Zhang Xiaobao knew that a tiger had been sold. When the palace maid's second uncle got the news, even if he didn't want to buy it, he had to pay for it. Moreover, he had to rush to the zoo to buy the first animal, the tiger he wanted, before everyone else. As for how much it was worth, there was no way to say. It was said to be worth 500 strings of coins. The cost of transportation and catching the tiger was almost the same, or even less than 500 strings of coins. If it was said to be worth 50,000 strings of coins, it wasn't expensive. He could tell others that the emperor first thought of him, and then sold him a tiger. It wouldn't be a problem for others to raise his rank to the 4th rank for the sake of the tiger's face. Li Longji's first business was done, and he was very happy. He glanced at Gao Lishir. Gao Lishir understood that he wanted him to take care of the palace made just now. There wasn't much reason. He was just in a good mood. Xiaobao, I heard that Zhang Xiaobao and the others are going to build an amusement park in Hongnom. Can you spare a place to raise animals? Li Longji began to promote to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao bowed forward. Thank you, Your Majesty. Zhang Xiaobao has the same intention. He is willing to build a beautiful place in Hongnom and let Your Majesty transport the extra animals there. Half of the profits will be used to pay for the construction of the site, and the other half will be given to the zoo in the capital. Li Longji felt that it was a bit of a loss. Half was too little. He discussed, how will the labor cost be settled? It's better to let Zhang Xiaobao talk to Your Majesty. Your Majesty, rest assured. Zhang Xiaobao doesn't care about money. He can take out 3 million strings of coins just like that. How can he be calculative with Your Majesty over such a small amount? Zhang Xiaobao replied with a smile. Li Longji paused and said, half is fine. There's no need to trouble Zhang Xiaobao. The weather is getting cold. It's not easy to come to the palace. Li Longji reluctantly agreed to Zhang Xiaobao's agreement. He had to agree because Zhang Xiaobao mentioned 3 million strings of coins. If he really let Zhang Xiaobao come personally, he might not even get 30% of the profits. Otherwise, Zhang Xiaobao would definitely keep talking about 3 million strings of coins. After discussing the matter, Zhang Xiaobao really did eat at the zoo at noon. He killed a bear and brought the bear paw back for Li Longji to eat. Otherwise, he would leave it for his brother and sister to have a change of taste. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned to Savant's restaurant and continued to feel the tense atmosphere. Tomorrow's imperial examination was set to be held in Hibiscus Garden. Someone had already set up the examination hall. At this time, ordinary people were not allowed to enter. The examinees were nervous, insomniac, and excited. They all had different expressions. Zhang Xiaobao, who had always appeared relaxed, became nervous at noon. It wasn't because of the imperial examination, but because someone reported that 2 of Shuiyun's and Hong Wan's children had hatched. Shuiyun's children were eagles, not chicks. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both became nervous. This was because eagles would usually do one thing after hatching, which was to push down their siblings who hadn't hatched yet. 11 eggs represented 11 eagles. If one fell, there would be one less. Zhang Xiaobao didn't even bother to eat. Together with Wang Wan, he brought his younger siblings and a large group of people to the artificial salt lake. Looking up with a pair of binoculars, Zhang Xiaobao took a deep breath and asked the person next to him, "Is everything ready?" "Yes." Next to Shuiyun's and Hong Wan's nests, there's a big circle 1 centimeter lower. Just use soft grass to cover it. If the eggs are pushed out of the nests, they won't fall to the ground or into the lake. The steward who was asked said with certainty. What's Shuiyun's and Hong Wan's reaction? Wang Wan asked. Hong Wan hasn't come down. Shuiyun came down the day before yesterday and broke open the guard's house. He dragged out the quilt from inside, tore open the cloth, took out a lot of cotton, and brought it up. Today an eagle hatched, so Shuiyun came down and called out a few times. Zhang Ying climbed up with a bunch of raised insects and hasn't come down yet. Shuiyun is also here. He's probably discussing with Zhang Ying how to raise the children. Little Gongzi, don't worry. We will definitely guard this place and not leave any loopholes. The steward guaranteed. Shuiyun was a high-ranking official and had made great contributions in the Tubo battlefield in the northern part of Hebei province. He and Hong Wan's children were probably not ordinary people. While waiting, several eagle cries sounded from the sky, and a big white eagle fell down. Zhang Xiaobao hurriedly took a leather arm glove from the side. Just as he put on his arm, the big white bird suddenly slowed down and landed on Zhang Xiaobao's arm. I knew it. The two of us are still the best. Zhang Xiaobao touched Shuiyun's neck on his right arm with his left hand and said happily. Shuiyun also seemed to be very happy. This was a comrade in arms who had fought side by side. If it could speak, it might even praise Zhang Xiaobao's two sharp spears when Zhang Xiaobao flew into the sky to deal with a group of eagles. Brother, I want to touch Shuiyun. It's so beautiful. Xiao Bei wasn't afraid at all and looked up from Zhang Xiaobao's leg. Zhang Xiaobao squatted down and first touched Shuiyun. This was Xiao Bei, that was Xiao Yuan, and the others. Xiao Bei boldly reached out to touch Shuiyun. Shuiyun really didn't move and allowed Xiao Bei to touch its feathers. Xiao Bei was so happy that it giggled. Is the house warm? Zhang Xiaobao asked Shuiyun as if he was talking to a human. Shuiyun called out. Oh, it's warm. Where's the food? We're feeding the insects now. When they grow bigger, we'll have to feed them meat. I'll get someone to get some live lambs. You can choose for yourself. When the children can fly, you'll have to bring them to hunt for food. Zhang Xiaobao continued to talk to Shuiyun. Shuiyun nodded, which was strange. It wasn't clear if Shuiyun understood or if it was just a habit. Zhang Xiaobao also slowly climbed down from above and let Shuiyun rub its head against his face. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, Hongwan has already fed the 2 hatchlings and is sleeping. I think 5 or 6 more hatchlings can come out today. By tomorrow, all of them will probably come out. It won't be too far away. When all of them come out, I won't have to worry. I'm thinking that before it snows, they can start to practice flying. The lake and the ground have to be prepared. The baby eagles can fly very far with a flap of their wings. Don't get hurt. It will be arranged. Xiao Bei and the others will each have 1. The remaining 2 will be raised first. I think Her Majesty will ask. Zhang Xiaobao had already begun to plan how to divide them. Eagles grew faster than humans. When they grew up, they might be able to carry Xiao Bei and the others into the sky. He just didn't know if Shuiyun could still carry him. A little further away from the shelf, as the news of the birth of Shuiyun and Hongwan's children spread, many people gathered. Some came to watch the fun, while others wondered if they could buy one. There were many rich people who thought that as long as they had money, there was nothing that couldn't be bought. There were even people who asked Zhang Xiaobao and Zhang Xiaobao in the inner courtyard outside if they would sell 1 or 2. The people in the inner courtyard were too lazy to answer. When they were annoyed, they replied, Shuiyun is an official. Why don't you try to buy an official's child and raise it? The people who asked didn't dare to speak again. If they did, they would be arrested. Brother, is there a red one? I want a big red eagle. Xiao Bei heard that she could get one and began to make her request. I don't know. I'll have to wait until the feathers are molted and the shape is fixed. There's a red one for you. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed his sister's head, stood up, and continued to look up. Seeing that there were no big problems, he ordered, give the order. No unrelated people are allowed to come close. Enforce martial law within 1,000 meters. Other than Her Majesty, all other princes and princesses are to be stopped, especially during my exam. If anyone dares to come over and cause trouble, shoot them on the spot. If they die, it's on me. As soon as Zhang Xiaobao's voice fell, the sound of orderly running came from the road leading to this place. Most people turned their heads to look and saw a group of strong men running over. They were all carrying guns. The eunuch at the front was Luo Bin, who often interacted with Zhang Xiaobao. Seeing the group's attire, Zhang Xiaobao was relieved. They were the Jinwu guards, Li Longji's personal guards. With a rough look, there were 200 people. Luo Bin ran to the front and panted twice. He said to Zhang Xiaobao, Lord Zhang, Her Majesty heard that Shuiyun and Hongwan's child was born. She ordered this little one to bring 200 Jinwu guards to protect them. Whoever dares to wantonly harm the son of an official will be severely punished. Enforce martial law within a radius of 3 li. No one is allowed to pass or approach. Luo Bin's voice was very loud, no quieter than Zhang Xiaobao's. When the surrounding people heard this, they thought, great. Zhang Xiaobao only wanted to enforce martial law within 1,000 meters. The emperor actually directly cordoned off an area of 3 li, and even sent out the Jinwu guards. If Shui Yun was a human, she would be satisfied with her life. Zhang Xiaobao was happy. Good, let me thank Her Majesty for her grace. Lord Zhang, this little one can't go back. This little one wants to stay here. Her Majesty said that if Shui Yun's child's life is in danger because of other people's disturbance, she will chop off this little one's head. Therefore, Lord Zhang, this little one also needs to use your family's guards. If anyone dares to barge in, this little one will first beat them to death for the sake of my head. Luo Bin put his hand on his neck and gestured, as if he was afraid of death. Zhang Xiaobao stretched out his hand to Wang Wan. Wang Wan took out a few banknotes from her bag and handed them to Luo Bin. She said, "Then I'll trouble you." Luo Bin happily took the money. He didn't look at the exact amount, thinking that it couldn't be bad. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao was about to leave, he hurriedly said, "Lord Zhang, Her Majesty said that you should keep 2. If you want to give the rest away, you can distribute it." Your Majesty. Zhang Xiaobao agreed and walked back with his people. He secretly cursed Li Longji. No wonder he sent the Jinwu guards. He actually only asked for 2, and even said that the rest would be distributed. He didn't believe that Li Longji couldn't guess that the rest just happened to be 1 for each of Xiaobei and the others. 2 wasn't too much or too little. Shui Yun and Hong Wan's children were all gone. Wife, do you think this counts as our dear Her Majesty's kindness to Shui Yun? Zhang Xiaobao saw that there were no outsiders around and said to Wang Wan. Wang Wan was also very helpless. Forget it, forget it. It's mainly because Shui Yun's ability is too dazzling. Who doesn't want to get one? For the next nest, there will be a prince or something to greet us. I don't know if Shui Yun is convinced or sad to be valued so much. It should be. I've never heard that the little eagles have to live with their parents when they grow up and have their own families. Let's go. No matter how big they get, we still want a nest of children. We can't let Shui Yun outshine us. You can go give birth with the pigs. Shui Yun's storm could be said to have just started. The princes, and their sons were in a powerless situation. They couldn't compete with the emperor and could only continue to look forward to the next nest. The civil officials felt that the emperor's care for Shui Yun was excessive and discussed spiritedly. The military officials, on the other hand, were gratified. In their eyes, Shui Yun was a similar species. Back then, he was able to fly thousands of li to deliver news, which was incomparable to an urgent report from 800 li away. The emperor's care for it was a meritorious service that must be rewarded. The military officials knew that without Shui Yun, Wang Wan wouldn't have been able to achieve such impressive results. Shui Yun not only cooperated with small groups to launch sneak attacks, but also observed the enemy's situation and was responsible for air control. People said, Guanshan's endless blade glints coldly, throwing away heads to fight for their lives on the battlefield. In Lingtian, who dares to flap their wings, guarding 1,000 li alone, an eagle soars. Therefore, the military officials regarded Shui Yun as a hero. At the very least, there was no one in the heavens who could match up to her. Could it be that such a hero needed someone to disturb her when she gave birth to a child? Zhang Xiaobao didn't know that the civil and military officials of the imperial court were divided into 2 factions. They were fighting a war of words in front of Li Longji. The civil officials spoke in a genteel manner, quoting classics and classics. The military officials were more heroic, cursing as soon as they opened their mouths. They rolled up their sleeves, and their spittle flew everywhere. If it wasn't for Li Longji, they probably would have gone all out to fight. They wanted Shui Yun to see that they were also no match for the civil officials on the ground. After returning to Savant's pavilion, Zhang Xiaobao and the others ate first. Their hearts settled back into their stomachs, and their appetite gradually increased. Xiao Bei and Xiao Yuan worked together to gnaw off more than half of the lamb leg. They rubbed their stomachs and said that it was for Shui Yun's child to try what kind of lamb tasted good. In the next few days, they planned to try a few more breeds of lamb. After the meal, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sat in front of a tea set and drank tea. Zhang Xiaobao drank 6 teacups in a row, and his mouth became even more astringent. He asked Wang Wan, "What questions do you think will be tested tomorrow?" "How would I know? I didn't ask, so it doesn't matter." "Are you worried that you won't be able to pass?" Wang Wan continued to pour tea for Zhang Xiaobao, not worried at all. "I'm not afraid. I have nothing better to do. Everyone else is guessing the questions, so I'll do the same. You have to prepare. After the civil examination, it will be the military examination. If you have 2 days of rest, you can call all the commanders at home over and come up with a good plan. It's difficult for cold soldiers to fight hot weapons." Zhang Xiaobao had been arrogant when he had accompanied Wang Wan to shout at the generals, but in his heart, he really did not have any confidence. There were 2 sets of rules for cold weapons and hot weapons. You couldn't say that if you slashed out with a knife, you could instantly appear 3 miles away and cut off the enemy general's head as easily as taking something out of your pocket. Wang Wan raised her teacup and stopped it in front of her chest. She said, "It's also impossible for everyone to have a submachine gun for hot weapons. The weapons we make are purely handmade. Only our own troops and Li Longji's personal guards have one each. There are also very few handguns. The rifling for handguns is harder to make than for rifles. Most of them are rifles. Rifles are powerful at a distance, but in close combat, can bayonets compete with cold weapons? It's also impossible for me to foolishly arrange my troops in an open field and wait for the enemy to fire their guns and cannons. Using cold weapons does not mean that I've taken out the enemy's troops. I can't use their guns. It's just that when determining the losses, the people who use cold weapons are not familiar with them, so the enemy's losses are small. This time, I'll let those arrogant generals who think that they have guns and cannons understand that guns and cannons are not omnipotent. Otherwise, sooner or later, they will suffer a great loss." Zhang Xiaobao also understood that in theory, there was no such thing as an invincible soldier. However, he felt that it would be very troublesome for him to deal with it. He drank another cup of tea and indicated to Wang Wan that he was full. He said, "I've got the information on all the generals. After the literary exam, I'll make a list and evaluate everyone. Okay, I'll leave the logistics to you. I may have to frequently move long distances to find opportunities. You can't make any mistakes about how to distribute the logistics and how to hide them." Wang Wan placed a lot of importance on this sand table exercise. She had to win. Zhang Xiaobao also said seriously, "Don't worry, I like to do this. I'll let the logistics cooperate very well. Give me the map, I'll study it again." Zhang Xiaobao said as he went to get the map. "You're not guessing the exam questions anymore?" Wang Wan asked with a smile. "What's there to guess? I'm the top scorer. If they don't give me the top scorer, I won't be an official anymore. I'll leave behind a huge mess. Let's see who can clean it up. Whoever is the top scorer will take over. Just the great Tang Bank alone is enough to tire him to death." Zhang Xiaobao puffed out his chest and went to the study to look for the map. Wang Wan sat there and kept laughing. The next day, the day of the imperial examination, finally arrived. Some impatient examinees hurriedly finished their lunch and headed to the hibiscus garden. They just had to wear their clothes. When the time came, there would be soldiers searching their bodies. As for lunch, the imperial court would be responsible for the brushes, ink, paper, and inkstone. To be more precise, the restaurants that sold food and the shops that sold the 4 treasures of the study were responsible for it. The bowls and plates that held the food would have the imprint of the restaurant. The same went for the 4 treasures of the study. If it was in the past, the imperial court wouldn't give them anything. Now that Li Longji knew how to do business, some of the examinees would become officials. Whoever could provide them with things, even if they wouldn't be taken care of in the future, they would at least have a good memory. Therefore, there were many restaurants that were willing to provide food and stationery. Therefore, Li Longji charged them. Yes, you had to provide food and stationery, and you still had to pay. If you didn't pay, Then your things wouldn't be used. The examinees all left with solemn expressions. Only Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and the examinees of Jinjia Academy were not in a hurry. The people of the academy would follow Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Even if the time passed, they would still be able to enter. After Zhang Xiaobao finished his meal, he sat there and drank some tea to help with digestion. Only then did he lead the group to Hibiscus Garden. When they arrived outside Hibiscus Garden, the soldiers were waiting in formation. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan went straight in. The students of the academy had to stop and be checked. Regarding this, the other examinees, who came around the same time, did not feel that this was inappropriate. Who would dare to search Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan? No one would believe that the two of them would cheat. If they wanted to cheat, they would have already memorized the answers to the questions. After entering the examination hall, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found their seats according to their numbers. The two of them were next to each other, and there was only a wooden wall between them. There was a soldier with a gun standing outside every single room. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were different outside. There were at least 20 people outside. In name, they were invigilators, but in fact, they were there to protect them. Wang Wan was also taking the imperial examination. She planned to give Zhang Xiaobao some pressure. It wouldn't be good to be compared to her wife, right? As the door outside closed, it was time for the examination. The official in charge of the examination first nodded to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Then he praised Li Longji and emphasized the discipline of the examination hall. Only then did he walk in front of Zhang Xiaobao and ask, "Lord Zhang, is it ready?" Zhang Xiaobao glared at the examiner, which meant, "Are you stupid? You asked me." The examiner understood and immediately announced the start of the examination. When the examination papers were opened, they were not read aloud like before. Instead, they were given out. If they did not have enough paper, they could ask the examiner for more. Zhang Xiaobao opened the paper. The first question was about sutra. The Jinshi examination was about sutra. It was actually a fill-in-the-blank question. The so-called sutra was full of blanks, and the blanks were linked together. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at it and saw that it said, "I, Wang Ke, was born with the mandate of heaven to comfort Fang Xia." As for the rest of the paper, it was full of blanks. I thought it would be difficult. It's just Shangshu. If I knew it would be like this, I would have let Xiao Yuan do it. He can also get a good result. Zhang Xiaobao cursed in his heart and filled in the blanks at the back. After he finished, he continued to look at the next one. It was an essay, which was a question. The examiner had to write a poem and an essay according to the meaning of the question. Zhang Xiaobao went over first. Writing poems and essays was a waste of time, so he finished the simple ones first. After that, it was the current affairs policy, also known as policy theory. The examiner was given a question and then discussed it. However, there were 5 questions. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at the questions. They were really related to him. There were questions about Hunan province, foreign wars, domestic economic construction, railway construction, and river layout. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the questions, pondered for a while, and knocked on the wooden board next door. "What are you doing? Are you cheating?" Wang Wan asked softly. The soldiers outside were deaf and didn't see or hear. However, the person next door to Wang Wan heard it and felt indignant. "If you want a copy, just ask for the questions directly. Why are you asking each other at this time?" Zhang Xiaobao didn't care about these things and said, "Don't answer the current affairs policy. If you don't write the real thing, that's lying to the emperor. If you write the real thing and the examiner sees it, aren't you afraid that the secret will be revealed?" "Oh, that's right." Wang Wan responded and asked, "If you don't answer, your score will be low. Who dares to say that my current affairs policy is bad? Whoever wants to know, come and ask me. I will tell him. I will tell him all the secrets and layout. I will scare him to death." Zhang Xiaobao said disdainfully, "All right, I won't answer either." Wang Wan responded, At this time, the indignation in the hearts of the examinees who heard it disappeared and was replaced by understanding and admiration. Look at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. It wasn't that they didn't know how to write, it was that they didn't dare to. The current affairs policy that they were answering was to see if their ideas were compatible or not. The closer they were to the emperor, the higher the evaluation they would get. They were giving advice to the emperor. If they had any ideas, they would directly tell the emperor. How could they write it for many people to see? Zhang Xiaobao relaxed. There were a total of 3 major questions. Now, there was only a poem and an essay left. He picked up the brush and was about to write, but he wanted to know what Wang Wan was thinking. So he knocked on the wooden board again. Are you going to write a 7-word or 5-word essay? Poem or quatrains? Don't disturb the others. I won't write a poem or quatrains. I will write a song. Wang Wan was annoyed. Chapter 949. Zhang Xiaobao looked around. Other than the soldiers in front of him, the other 3 sides were all walls. He muttered softly, "All right, I will also write a song." He looked at the questions. He had to write according to the questions. If he really did not answer the questions, it would be too ugly. Li Longji would definitely laugh himself to death. They had been competing since they were young. After so many years, he had always had the upper hand. No matter what, he would not let Li Longji laugh at him. Zhang Xiaobao wasn't worried at all that the examiner wouldn't dare to pass his paper to Li Longji. If he really failed on the first try, Li Longji would probably find an excuse to throw the examiner into jail and reinstitute another winter imperial examination. In other words, it would be another winter imperial examination. Anything could happen in this magical world. Wasn't it normal to have another examination in winter? Zhang Xiaobao looked at the paper and saw that it said, "If one hears the Tao in the morning, one can die in the evening. The Tao can be Tao, but it is not the Tao. I know how to speak. I am good at nurturing. I am noble." With one look, Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. He put his mouth on the wooden board. "Wife, did you see? F***K. Who came up with this question? The Analects of Confucius, Laozi, and Mencius. Is there a need to compete with 3 people in one sentence? If you let others hear it, won't you be teaching others? Stop talking. If you continue, I will get someone to throw you out. You can wait to participate in next year's examination." Wang Wan really did not know what to do with Zhang Xiaobao. It was an examination. Couldn't he be more serious? Who heard it? Who dares to throw me out? Zhang Xiaobao was really bored. He thought that the examination would be very difficult. In the end, it was just a fill-in-the-blanks question, 5 discussion questions, a poem, and a prose question. What was this? The soldier who was in charge of invigilating Zhang Xiaobao, and Wang Wan continued to be deaf and blind. The quarrel between immortals had nothing to do with mortals. "Honey, don't write too fast. Slow down. I'm regretting it now. I'll let Xiao Bei and the others participate. Other than their handwriting being a little lacking, they should be able to enter the top 100 in other aspects. Honey, is your poem oblique or plain?" Zhang Xiaobao continued to ramble. "Che Yun, Xiao Bei can't memorize so many books. Don't tell me you want Xiao Yuan to help you cheat? Even if he knew the answers to the questions. So what if he passed the exam? You said yourself that you want them to learn and grow through playing. If it weren't for you insisting on fame, why would we come here?" Wang Wan also felt that the questions were too simple. This was the country's selection of talents. If one was selected, they would immediately become an official. In the end, the difficulty was even lower than the college entrance examination. It really made her speechless. All right, I'll go right. You're reciting rhymes, right? I'm Ping Yun. You can't possibly say that I cheated by copying you, right?" Zhang Xiaobao turned around, but he didn't write. Instead, he fell into deep thought. Similarly, Wang Wan didn't write either. It wasn't that she didn't know how to, but that she suddenly lost interest. The imperial examination was too easy. It was no wonder that Jinjia Academy would definitely accept anyone who participated. It wasn't because of its reputation, but because of the different education methods. Just like that, the two of them were separated by the wooden board and spent 3.5 hours, which was also 3 hours. It started at 7 o'clock in the morning, which was 7 o'clock. In addition, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finished the fill-in-the-blanks questions, and then talked nonsense. It was now past 10 o'clock, almost 10:30. Zhang Xiaobao waited for a while. He raised his hand and was about to continue knocking on the wooden board when he suddenly realized that there was something wrong with the gap on the wooden board. He observed the gap and actually found something interesting. With a whoosh, the wooden board between the two of them was opened by Zhang Xiaobao, giving Wang Wan a fright. Shook. Zhang Xiaobao raised a finger in front of his mouth. We can open it. It seems that Li, the emperor, was afraid that we would be lonely, so he deliberately arranged for someone to do it. Wang Wan ignored Zhang Xiaobao and began to look at the wooden board carefully. She nodded. The workmanship is very delicate. It's okay, Zhang Xiaobao echoed. How did you find out? Wang Wan was puzzled. You look down on me, don't you? What did I do before? Where did I hide the money that I couldn't find? Passbooks, real estate certificates, notebooks, bearer bank cards that always have 6 zeros as the password. If I don't find them, who am I going to threaten? What am I going to spend? Do you think that I can't do anything to you just because you have 24 full-view surveillance cameras in your community for doors and 3 groups of mobile security guards? If I'm a little less capable, I'm not qualified to be your husband, right? Zhang Xiaobao touched the wooden board and said to Wang Wan with an expression that said, "It would be weird if I didn't see through it." Wang Wan chuckled and looked at Zhang Xiaobao with watery eyes. She was indeed very satisfied to have a husband like Zhang Xiaobao. If she hadn't come with Zhang Xiaobao, and if Zhang Xiaobao was terminally ill at that time, she felt that she could get a sum of money that Zhang Xiaobao was willing to hand over by understanding him. After locking Zhang Xiaobao in prison, she could get him out through other means and be with him. I know. You were a thief in the beginning. The officials who were robbed didn't dare to report it, so you specifically picked the big fish to rob. You even dared to steal from the provincial political secretary's house. In the end, he mobilized people to arrest you. It was said that the case handling officer, who had never failed before, saw you flying from building to building, so he could only announce that the arrest failed. Later, that secretary went to the CPPCC. Wang Wan helped Zhang Xiaobao to prove his innocence. Zhang Xiaobao disagreed. It's useless to live in the provincial party committee's compound. Usually, no one will stare at the CCTV. I can set off a firecracker somewhere else. When it goes off, can you still keep your eyes on the monitor? I took the opportunity to go there. You can check the historical records after the theft. I was long gone. I can, Wang Wan said in a huff. You can? You can only stare at the monitor when it goes off and think about when it will go off. You go back. I am not going to be friends with you. Wang Wan pushed Zhang Xiaobao's head with all her strength. You can. I was wrong. When you were practicing, the firecrackers kept going off. Don't you have to stare at the monitor? Then you can be a security guard. A security guard with military rank. Many security guards are originally from the military. Go back and write poems. Don't disturb me. Wang Wan continued to push Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao stubbornly resisted. No, don't. There are many things to do this time. It will not be easy for them to answer. The exam will last for 2 days. We will be staying here tonight. Don't be anxious. What do you want to eat for lunch? I will cook for you. Do you want to eat double-cooked pork? How about braised frog? Wang Wan finally relaxed. She lowered her head and thought for a while. I want to eat casserole. No problem. Beef brisket and potatoes? Beef stewed with carrots? Chicken stewed with mushrooms? Pine mushrooms? Cabbage and pork ribs? Cod tofu? Dog meat? Dog meat is not good. It is not good for women to eat that. Also, I have to make dog sauce. Mutton and wood ear? How about this? We should have kidney beans in Beijing. I will make a stew for you. First, I will make braised pork. Then I will put the kidney beans, potatoes, and eggplant into the stew. I will also add chili and tomatoes. After that, I will mix 2 cold plates for you. You can eat it with rice. Okay? Zhang Xiaobao opened his mouth, and a series of dishes came out. Wang Wan frowned. Why are they all stewing? Sister, I am not the one who wants to stew. You are the one who wants to eat casserole. I will play along with you. You can find me a casserole that is not stewing. I will learn. Zhang Xiaobao spread out his hands. Then I want to eat Buddha jumps over the wall. Wang Wan said, I don't have time. Are you going to eat it tomorrow? I will get someone to prepare it today. I also have bear paws. I got it from Li Longji at the zoo. I don't intend to return it to him. Zhang Xiaobao did not care about anything else for his wife. Wang Wan bit her lips. I have eaten it once. There is no bear paws, and it is very hard to make. Sister, where did you eat Buddha jumps over the wall? Let's not be so formal, okay? Actually, Buddha jumps over the wall is only a few words. Fresh, tender, numbing, smoky, sandy, smooth, sweet, and fragrant. Why does it have such a texture? It is because of the ingredients. The ingredients are not put together at the same time. Every ingredient is put together according to the time they are cooked. This is the texture. Actually, I am not willing to eat this. Not to mention that it is very hard to make. There is poison in it. Let me tell you this. I don't need to put as many ingredients as what others recommend. As long as you give me enough seasonings, I can use any piece of meat to make the same effect. It sounds scary. It is just the freshness of seafood, the tenderness of bamboo shoots, the sweetness of rock sugar, the smoothness of shark's fin, the sand of liver, the smokiness of ham, the numbing of rice wine, the aroma of meat, and the rest of the ingredients have the corresponding effect. Zhang Xiaobao pursued the essence of the ingredients and spoke the truth. But the food made by others is transparent. When it is cold, it feels like it is frozen. Wang Wan had eaten it many times. Others needed to order it, but she did not need to. I use fire alkali to make it more transparent. Isn't it easy to make frozen? You can stew fish and make meat with frozen. I will also make some starch and white alum for you. I will make as much frozen as you want. Therefore, don't listen to their boasting. What Big Brother is making for you is the real deal. Many of the ingredients in the Buddha jumps over the wall soup are suitable for the occasion. If I were the person who made the Buddha jumps over the wall soup back then, I would definitely sigh that I didn't have enough ingredients. Buddha jumps over the wall is an explosive food source. It is just like the stew I made for you. The stew is mainly made because it is hard to find meat, so there is only red braised pork. It is mainly made into vegetarian food, just like the pearl and white jade soup. Only those who are not good at cooking can win with ingredients. Look at the dishes I usually make for Xiao Bei and the rest. Do I need to put in a lot of seasonings and ingredients? Even a fried egg has its own style. Why are French steak and Italian macaroni so classic? It is because they are simple. I can make whatever flavor you want to eat. In my eyes, steak is just beef, wine, and salt. Macaroni is just tender and smooth. Later, I will make steamed bear paws for you. You just need to put some salt and mushrooms. It is just tender and smooth with a little toughness. What else can it do? If you want to eat raw prawns and clams, do you want me to put 100 kinds of seasonings on you? Why do you need to use leftovers to eat fried rice? Toughness means that there is less water in the rice grains. I will use freshly steamed northeastern rice and roast it in the microwave. There is no difference in the taste. Of course, if you want to say that there is a slight fermentation process in the rice that contains water, then I will ferment it for you. Listening to Zhang Xiaobao talking about how to cook in the examination room, Wang Wan smiled. She smiled sweetly and happily. Xiaobao, why are you different from other people? Because I am not other people. I am Zhang Xiaobao. Many countries' presidents value me, but I don't value them. Because the president can be changed. Zhang Xiaobao is the only one. What do you want to eat for lunch? Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic again. What do you think? Wang Wan became shy. How would I know you? Zhang Xiaobao was very helpless. Let it be stewed. I will give you a chance to mix the ingredients. Put less chili. I know. Green chili, which is also called persimmon chili, has not been cultivated yet. Do you know how to cultivate persimmon chili? As the name suggests, it is a cross between tomatoes and chili. Understood. Hurry up and cook. I am hungry. Wang Wan used words to show who was in charge at home. Don't be unreasonable with me. I will only wait for 5 minutes. What can you do? Afraid of you? Someone, go to Savant's restaurant and get me something. Be 5 minutes late. Oh, 3/4 of an hour. Zhang Xiaobao didn't believe that he couldn't get back his position as the leader of the family. Wang Wan pursed her lips and smiled. Husband, are you angry with me? You want me to be 5 minutes late? No, I am afraid that they will accidentally break the tomatoes. I will cook quickly. I will light the fire now. It won't delay anything. Just watch. Zhang Xiaobao started to light the fire with a sense of accomplishment that belonged to a man. It was just stewing. Do you think I don't know how to cook? Thus, when it was close to noon, the other examinees were eating boxed lunches that were better than most of what they usually ate. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan stayed in front of the pot, puffing out hot air as they ate the stew. The fragrance made the other examinees angry. Even if they could smell the stew, they were unhappy that Zhang Xiaobao didn't ask them to pay. Finally, an examinee next door couldn't hold it in anymore. He stretched out his neck and asked, "Why is it not Savant's restaurant who is cooking?" Zhang Xiaobao put down his chopsticks and raised his head. Savant's restaurant doesn't lack advertising opportunities. Go back and call for someone to chase you out. That examinee was very self-aware. He didn't think that he had the strength to contend against Zhang Xiaobao's authority. He resentfully retracted his head and continued to eat the lunch boxes. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head helplessly and said to Wang Wan, "Humans, their desires are really uncontrollable. There is no end to them. How can society develop without desires? Humans rely on their desires to win against other animals. Why don't you invite the head examiner over to eat together?" Wang Wan only remembered that she didn't invite anyone after she was half full. "We are taking an exam. Don't disturb the rules of the exam," Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan as he picked up a piece of dried tofu with scallion oil with his chopsticks. Wang Wan put a piece of red braised pork into her mouth and said in a muffled voice, "Don't mention the rules of the exam to me. If you don't disturb, there will naturally be rules. It doesn't matter if I disturb or not. I thought that it would be very difficult. The imperial examination is too disappointing." When Zhang Xiaobao thought of the exam questions, he started to feel helpless again. Wang Wan didn't say anything for a moment. She took a small spoon and drank the soup in the pot. Zhang Xiaobao also became silent. He lowered his head and ate fiercely. Both of them had their own thoughts. Why? After a while, Zhang Xiaobao put down his chopsticks and looked outside. He seemed to be talking to himself, but also seemed to be asking Wang Wan. Because we're used to 12 years of compulsory education. We're used to not having a good job after graduation. We're used to having a lot of masters and doctorates. In the past, I didn't think about it. I just felt a little. Why do we have to go through such a long period of education and then lose the opportunity to get more survival resources? The country doesn't give any preferential treatment to people who receive education. Wang Wan also muttered. Zhang Xiaobao turned around and picked up the cucumber stick dipped in the sauce. He pinched it with his hand and bit off a piece. "Now you know?" "I know." Wang Wan nodded. In fact, the country has never thought of letting the people widen the gap between the people of the same country through education. Because everyone is learning, it is to widen the gap between one society and another society. In other words, it is to prevent other countries from surpassing the basic level of knowledge. Now, I'm thinking if we could take all of our graduates from a certain university and bring them here, they can study tourism, mining, physics, chemistry, and so on, and then compare them with the outstanding people of the same age in Great Tang. The people of Great Tang will be trampled under their feet. This gap can destroy a country. It's just like how Li Longji is always afraid of the country that can shoot artillery shells from Luzhou to Chang'an. Therefore, the purpose of universal education is not to increase the competitive advantage of the people of the country. It is to ensure the survival of the race. When Wang Wan said this, she thought about why the emperor was willing to give the children of officials the position of officials. It was because the children of officials received a different education from the children of commoners. If there wasn't an endless amount of paper, if there wasn't a lot of ink, if there wasn't a lot of books, if there wasn't a good teacher, if there wasn't, 10 years of hard study sounded good, but it was far inferior to 9 years of compulsory education with all the conditions, let alone 12 years of compulsory education. In Tang, a child who was willing to learn wanted to learn, but there were no channels of communication. Before Shi and Xiaobao came, before there was a large number of books, if they could get a book, they would be willing to give them more time to copy it. But what about when Shi and Xiaobao were together? Free libraries could be found everywhere. In fact, if you went to a stall selling books and renting books, you could go there without buying or renting. Very few people would chase you away. There was a child in the 6th grade of primary school who had just come into contact with the linear equation of 1 yuan. While walking on the street, he suddenly thought of a question that he didn't know how to solve. He would randomly stop a passerby or a salesperson and ask them about it. As long as they had the time and the mood, they would teach him. Because it was too simple. As long as they were older than him, they would know. But what about here? You could just grab a random person and ask them. Moreover, there was the internet. If you did not know a question about the Analects of Confucius, there would be many people who would teach you. There would also be several answers for you to choose from. Thinking of this, Wang Wan mumbled, "The truly frightening thing is not knowledge, but turning knowledge into common sense in life." When a person is not feeling well, they will naturally make self-judgment and take the corresponding medicine to treat themselves. When a place is hit by a disaster and floods, people know to drink water. When a person has diarrhea, they naturally know to replenish their salt. When there is fog, they will immediately wear masks and try not to go out. This is the true foundation of a nation by turning knowledge into common sense. Zhang Xiaobao continued, "That's why we feel that the questions of the imperial examinations are simple. Because the knowledge that you have been teaching me, and I have been teaching Xiaobei, and the rest is common sense that we take for granted. However, it is far superior to Tang's education system." "Yes, Xiaobao, I've decided. I want to rebuild Tang's education system." Wang Wan waved her fist, looking ambitious. "But it's very difficult." Zhang Xiaobao still did not dare to say that he was going to build a financial system. "If it's not difficult, why would I tell you? Is it not difficult for you to tell me?" "It's difficult for 2 people, but it's better than 1 person. Just tell me, what do you want me to do? Your reputation, my reputation, and our money. I want to build a university, a system-wide one. I want to hire teachers and recruit students. I won't allow anyone to cause trouble. For a period of time, I won't allow any political factors to interfere." Wang Wan picked up a piece of eggplant and chewed it vigorously, treating him as someone who was going to cause trouble. Zhang Xiaobao put a piece of charcoal under the pot. He picked up the paper and fanned it a few times in the air before taking 2 deep breaths. Wang Wan saw Zhang Xiaobao's actions and said, "Look, you don't need anyone to remind you. You only know how to worry about carbon monoxide poisoning. This is the power of knowledge. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. I support you. Wait until we finish the martial arts examination, okay? I'll think of a way for you. Isn't it just building a university? Finding students and teachers, not letting others cause trouble, and getting rid of all political factors? It's simple." Zhang Xiaobao raised his hand to show that he was convinced. He indicated that Wang Wan did not need to continue persuading him. "It's simple. Just say it now. Wang Wan wanted an answer that would make her happy. Zhang Xiaobao was slightly helpless. It's easy for me to do what you say, but I can't just spend money and not make money. If I want to make money, I have to put in a lot of effort. I have to wait until the martial arts examination is over. Wang Wan was just about to say that Zhang Xiaobao was greedy when she saw Zhang Xiaobao waving at the soldier outside. She was puzzled and asked, You really are Zhang Xiaobao. You won't take any losses. What do you want to do? Zhang Xiaobao waited for the soldier to come closer and said, I want a few papers. I'll answer them. I've studied for so many years. If I only answer one paper, it's too disgraceful. Official Zhang, what orders do you have? The soldier reacted quickly this time. When Zhang Xiaobao waved at him, his eyes were no longer blurry and his ears were no longer deaf. Zhang Xiaobao pointed to the left and right. I want a few papers. Give me one paper for the theory of the classics, the theory of the law, the theory of the literature, and the theory of the mathematics. Oh, 2 sets. Official Wang also needs 1 set. The soldier nodded and turned to leave. Zhang Xiaobao turned around and saw Wang Wan's puzzled expression. He said, When you were taking the university entrance exam, you only had 2 days. Don't tell me that you only had 1 fill-in-the-blanks question, 1 poem, 1 essay, and 5 discussion questions? Wang Wan shook her head vigorously. How can there be such a good thing? I think you should give me 2 hours to answer the questions for the theory of the sciences. This is because writing with a brush is slower than a fountain pen. Otherwise, 90 minutes would be enough. Chapter 950. The soldiers did not take long before they returned to where Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were sitting. Behind them was the head examiner, and 2 other people were holding a set of papers. Sir, you want to review the questions? The head examiner asked. I'm going to answer the questions. You are Shui, Assistant Minister of Rights. Oh, I remember now. Shui Yuan, right? Zhang Xiaobao looked at the head examiner and thought for a while before saying his name. The head examiner nodded happily. Yes, yes. You have a good memory. Do you want to answer all the questions? Do you want to extend the duration of the imperial examinations? No need. It's just a small question. In a while, bring the examiner here. I will answer it for him. Zhang Xiaobao did not want to be scolded. Because he was alone, extending the duration of the imperial examinations was worse than delaying the autumn quarter examinations by a month. Thus, he immediately took the papers and did not say anything polite. He invited the head examiner to eat and let him leave after greeting him. Assistant Minister Shui did not feel that Zhang Xiaobao was neglecting him. If he really asked him to stay for a meal, that would be a lie. Why would he ask him to stay for a meal when there were 2 people eating? However, he had doubts about whether Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could answer all the questions. Zhang Xiaobao poured hot water into a cup of barley wine. This was the first wine that appeared during the distillation process. It was also called Liuzi wine and had a relatively high alcohol content. However, no matter how high the alcohol content of barley wine was, it was still not as high as rice or corn. The first wine was around 50% alcohol content. You still want to drink during an examination? Give me the questions. Let me see. Wang Wan took the cup in front of Zhang Xiaobao and took a sip. She drank a quarter of the wine in 1 gulp and finished half a tael. I'll leave you a sip, 1 tael per person. You will feel refreshed. After drinking, you will be able to answer the questions. What kind of questions are these from the mathematics section? The fill-in-the-blanks questions actually have to be memorized. Luckily, I memorized them before. Thank you, Grandfather Bai. That old man taught me a lot. Do you see this? This is the mathematics exam. This was clearly not asking people to calculate. Instead, it was bringing up the forward, gouging out a row of words, and asking people to fill in the blanks. There's a calculation problem. I've left a space here, which means that there's no need to write down the steps to solve the problem. Let me see. The road is 80 feet long. The two brothers will walk it in pairs. The brothers will take 4 feet each step, and the younger brother will take half a step. A total of 35 steps. Was this what the imperial examinations were about? It means that there is a road that is 80 feet long, and two brothers are walking on it. The elder brother takes 1 step and covers 4 feet, and the younger brother takes half of the elder brother's, which is 2 feet. Then the two of them walk a total of 35 steps, and each of them is asked how many steps they have taken. Zhang Xiaobao felt helpless after reading the questions. It was too simple. It was just a two-dimensional linear equation. Wang Wan did not even need a pen and could directly say the answer. Of course, it was not a blank. There were steps to solve the problem. Let x plus y equals 35. For x plus 2y equals 80. I really should call Xiao Bei and the rest over. Let's not talk about the college entrance examination. If there were such questions in the middle school entrance examination, the children would die of happiness. Let me see again. Oh, there's a two-dimensional quadratic equation at the bottom. It seems that not everyone can calculate pi. Xiaobao, now you know the importance of a system, right? Wang Wan held a roll of paper in her hand, took a pen, and finished answering all the questions for the mathematics section. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at it and copied it. Otherwise, it would take some time to solve the two-dimensional quadratic equation. He might as well eat a few more mouthfuls of food. When the two of them finished their meal and began to drink tea, they had finished answering all the questions except for a poem, a prose essay, and some discussion questions that hadn't been written yet. There were no multiple-choice questions, no error correction questions, just filling in the blanks, discussion, and so on. The only question the two of them answered was the mathematics section, which was how to judge a case. The judgment was not fixed and had a certain degree of flexibility. The two of them had already memorized all the laws of the Tang Dynasty. After Zhang Xiaobao finished writing, he said to Wang Wan, "Look, aren't the laws set for the upper class? If our family followed this rule, even 10 heads would not be enough to chop off." "Are you saying that the law is useless?" Wang Wan asked. "No, I'm saying that everyone should quickly become upper-class people so that they can avoid the law," Zhang Xiaobao said. "If someone can be above the law, it can only mean that the system is not perfect. The one who is wrong is not the law, but those who are clearly avoiding the law. Not only are they not ashamed, but they are also complacent. If you do too many bad things, one day you will run into a ghost. I'm a good person. Don't look at me and say that we're not going back today. Call Xiao Bei and the others over later. Let's eat hot pot tonight. Sauerkraut hot pot with a chimney. At the same time, let them answer the questions and experience the imperial examination." Zhang Xiaobao reopened the mathematics section paper and began to think about how to write poems and prose. Just as he came up with some ideas, someone came to disturb him. "Lord Zhang, Lord Wang, you two are looking for me," the person asked politely. "Oh, you're the examiner for the mathematics section oral examination?" Zhang Xiaobao looked at the person and asked. "Yes, Lord Zhang. Do you think there's something wrong with the questions?" The person was very nervous. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand. "No, it's just that it's too simple." Yes, it's simple. Go ahead and ask." Zhang Xiaobao sat up straight and said seriously, "Ask what?" The person was surprised. "Ask me a question, and I'll answer it." Also, examinee Wang Wan asked together. Zhang Xiaobao's attitude was very proper. Examinees should act like examinees, at least for now. The person rubbed his hands and said hesitantly, "Lord Zhang, then I'll ask." "Go ahead and ask." "I asked you to ask Wang Wan and me," Zhang Xiaobao urged. "Okay, thank you, Lord Zhang." The person stood respectfully and then asked, "I'll ask Lord Zhang that the Tang Bank's reserve rate increased by 1 percentage point, and the bank's deposit rate also increased by 1 percentage point. Normally, this should suppress consumption. But why is it that in some cases, there is a trend of consumption increasing?" Zhang Xiaobao nodded and replied, "This is mainly because the Tang Bank's lending to the outside world decreased during this process." At the same time, the examination and approval requirements were also stricter. This caused the private lending to expand, which led to a situation where the consumption of certain items accelerated. Also, outside of the provision of non-essential items, those who have a large amount of other items and hoard them in order to cash them out have to lend the cash to the private lending institutions that also raise the deposit and withdrawal rates. When they judge that the profit lost from dumping the goods is less than the additional interest gained from depositing the money in the private lending institutions, they will sell a large amount of goods at a low price. This will increase the consumption of these goods in the areas under their influence. This is a short-term, localized increase in consumption. If it exceeds the short-term and there is an expansion of consumption, then it can only mean that there are people who are speculating. If the effect is not big, then I can ignore it. But if it exceeds the bottom line of my heart, I will firmly suppress it. Thank you, Lord Zhang. The person was very happy. Is there anything else? Zhang Xiaobao continued to ask. Yes, Lord Zhang. If the quantity of small goods does not reach the taxable quantity, then no tax will be collected. However, there are people who deliberately sell large goods in the form of small goods according to their assembled parts to avoid tax. What should be done about this kind of thing? The person asked another question. Tax will be collected according to the overall quantity of goods sold in a unit time, and a fixed tax will be levied on the increase of assets. At the same time, strict examination will be carried out. The business operation and tax declaration items must be consistent with the actual items recorded in the transaction process. If they are the same, the accounts will be audited. If they are different, in addition to making the difference in tax payable, punitive measures will be imposed. For the first time, the fine should not be too large, and it will be mainly a warning. If the offender commits a second time, the punishment will be increased, Zhang Xiaobao answered. Thank you, Lord Zhang, and wait. Wang Wan opened her mouth. She stared at the person and asked in confusion, this year's oral examination of arithmetic has started to test this. No, the students want to test them on this, but they don't understand. After Lord Zhang and you went to Hongnong, Lord Zhang's lectures in Beijing were stopped, and the students had to study by themselves. Didn't Lord Zhang give the students a chance to ask questions when he was busy? The person had a blank expression on his face, as if he was wondering why Wang Wan had brought up the oral examination. Looking at the situation, when the examiner asked him to come, she did not tell him the details. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and smiled. Zhang Xiaobao reacted and didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he said to the person, You. All right, after the martial arts exam, I will resume class. You can write down all your questions and hand them to me after class. As for the other people's questions, I will gather them together and answer them all together. Let's not talk about this now. You can ask me about the oral examination of arithmetic. Wang Wan and I will pass the examination of arithmetic as well, so we can begin. Wang Wan also sat up straight and waited. The person smiled awkwardly and said, Lord Zhang, you are making things difficult for me. How could I dare to ask you such a small question? Don't tease me, okay? You want to take the arithmetic exam, and I will tell you now. You and official Wang have both passed. If you insist on making me ask, then you are scolding me. Okay then, you can go do your own thing. I will answer the questions of the advanced subject. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand and bade farewell to the person. The person bowed and said, Lords, you are busy. I will take my leave. After he finished speaking, he really left. The examinees on both sides of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had all pressed their ears to the wooden board to listen. When they heard the person's question, they were all at a loss. When they heard Zhang Xiaobao's answer, it should be said that it was an answer, they were first shocked and then felt inferior. Look at him. He had nothing better to do and took the arithmetic exam. The examiner who came for the oral examination could only ask for advice and did not dare to ask questions related to arithmetic. Wang Wan watched the person leave and laughed. No wonder the examiner arranged for an assistant minister from the Ministry of Rights. If they really arranged for someone to be the head of the secretariat or the head of the various departments, they would not care whether you took the exam or not. They would definitely pester you and ask you all kinds of questions. Just now you gave me a fright. I thought that the Tang Dynasty's arithmetic exam was already so difficult. According to this, when Xiaobei and the others grow up, when they take the exam, won't they ask about the tax refund and differential subsidies for exported goods in the Tang Dynasty's import and export trade, as well as the issue of the imposition of punitive tariffs for anti-dumping measures in the process of protecting the cost of its own goods? When you finished answering the second question, I only realized it. But you foolishly waited for someone to continue asking. Why didn't you think about it? Is that a question that examinees should be asked now? How would I know? I thought it was just a question. Moreover, the question is not difficult. Is there a difference between 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 2? Zhang Xiaobao spread his hands. Oh, that's amazing. You know 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 2? Is it the 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 2 question that can be expressed as the sum of the product of a prime number and the product of b prime number? Wang Wan argued. Then what is it? Zhang Xiaobao was confused. Prime numbers. A long time ago, there was a person called Goldbach. He said, answer the question, answer the question. Don't say things that are not related to the exam. Don't disturb me. I want to write a poem. Zhang Xiaobao sent Wang Wan back and packed his things. He once again became a good examinee who knew the rules. Zhang Xiaobao knew what Wang Wan was talking about. This was not a field that he should be involved in. When encountering such situations, he should follow the principles of the 36 stratagems. First, he should avoid it. Second, he should leave. This field could easily cause people to die without a burial place, especially that Shungai. He was not a person, but an existence as bright as the stars. Zhang Xiaobao was most afraid of people with the surname Chun, because even history could not be erased. Just by hearing their name, he could feel his own insignificance. He could fight against Li Longji, but he did not dare to have the slightest disrespect for a certain group of people in his heart. There will always be some people who cannot be measured by money. Yes, if one hears the Tao in the morning, one can die in the evening. The Tao can be Tao, but it is not the Tao. I know how to speak. I am good at nurturing. I am noble. Answer the question. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it in his heart. He picked up his pen and prepared to continue the advancement exam. He actually did not want to write a song line because there were many words in a song line. There were only 4 quatrains and 8 quatrains. However, when writing a modern poem, the requirements were stricter. The question was very simple, and the content was not difficult to understand. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to write a few times before, but he did not know where to start. Just now, Wang Wan said 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, which reminded him of some people. Now he felt that it seemed to be easy to write. Thus, Zhang Xiaobao took a deep breath and started writing. What is the Tao? Worship an official. Return to the province when winter comes. Snow is pure and innocent. Find my Tao. Leave kindness in my heart. For seasons in the world, people are the heavens. This Tao is not mysterious in the distant emperor. I do not know where to go or stay. Looking up, the blue sky is empty. Looking back, the thick earth is full of jade rooms. Even ants seek the warmth of spring. How can people avoid the cold of autumn? Brocade returns home. Respect the elderly first. Do not talk about official status. Fellow countrymen. Fellow countrymen stoke firewood and put winter vegetables in front of the table. Deep in the cold, cracked hands, revealing the light of the fire, moist and gentle face. When I say there are many dishes, I hurriedly put down my chopsticks. When he says there is little meat, he pushes the plate. The cucumbers are crisp, the leek sprouts are fresh, the children are laughing and playing at the table. During the meal, I asked about the deceased, the newly built tower to worship the deceased. The fields are often produced in all seasons. The things by the water are occasionally left behind. The turbid wine floats to the bottom. The gourd soup scars the bottom. The tipsy finger goes to the sway foam. propose to use soil to cultivate mountain treasures. What can be chosen from 10,000 kinds of mountain treasures? Mushrooms are best fried and stewed. Tremella still needs to be cultivated, but purple mushrooms can be produced in the same basket. The host is pleasantly surprised and often urged to drink. Returning guests forget their worries and keep drinking. Or all of Sanshue County. And all of the 4 Cs can be mapped. Suddenly, there is a noise outside the door. Pushing open the window to listen to the light bell. Zhang Wang is afraid to be behind. Gully outside the village is happy to compete. First, white cut chicken pieces are tender, then brown smoked beast head tongue. Hurriedly waving and bowing to thank, the noise buzzing in the capital. Inform the capital and the county. The roadside is the same Yang Lusong. The Yellow River divides Wei and divides Yellow River. Dingshui clear and turbid together. 1,000 coins are easy to buy a tiger staff. 100 knives are hard to find a falcon bow. My sister Bayer prepares a gift, staying up late to set off fireworks. The young child asks how many people belong to, bending his fingers 3 times until the moon is full and waning. Invite wine to wet hands. Take bowl to add frost boots. Celebrate until the rooster crows. Wake up. Drink until the moon sets. Drink half a jar of wine. Suddenly go to the chicken coop. Suddenly come to study. The school windows are bright. The tables and chairs are arranged. The sun is shining in the west. But there is food and drink between classes. No wonder the children are reading and studying. Clear soup monkey head with abalone. Big wonton stuffed with water chestnuts. Suddenly, there is an old man patting the shoulder, laughing and praising Sanshue. Remember to be modest and laugh back. These are small things not worth boasting about. Then he shakes his head and praises good fortune, then shushes and waves his hand, saying that life is short. Is it difficult to detoxify the poison and control the soup? The old man did not mean this. This meal is accompanied by gentleness. Since it is gentleness, what is there to say? It is almost breaking into the house to hit the spoon. The old man cupped his fists and apologized. I bent my hand back to bury myself in thought. 9 bends form a river. The word is a few. The valley name is a pond. You county children eat 10,000 leaf vegetables. That side of the snow is thick and cold. Winged abalone, monkey head, and soup. Luzhou's water chestnuts are far away. Huayuan sealed the water and solid. The sound of sand and howling resentful mountain high. Why not use the horseback deer and flying dog? Goshawk sleigh guarding the empty sky? Officials always forget the small weight. Sung Yi was ambitious in the beginning? I heard that and was shocked. This year the great Tang is sunny. How can the imperial court be perplexed? How can the inner court be so peaceful? Disaster in all places. Chongping is in a hurry to report to the capital. I read all the reports in the capital. Are you sure it is not shocking? I am angry and stare. I am determined to think about it. I anxiously shout to Chuanzhou, slowly reply to the county, saying that Chongping has little grain and that the shops should pay taxes. The meaning of thousands of words, it is difficult to blame the officials and natural disasters. I am angry. I have many excuses. When I meet with trouble, I first evade. The troops quickly set off to the ground, brandishing the knife to cut the vegetables, pulling out the tendons and breaking the bones, all of the surname to be exterminated, lives taken and souls taken away. Originally, I killed all the corruption, but looking back, I am still alive. Opening my eyes, I am startled awake, holding the edge of the bed. The space between my eyebrows is painful. I think before I am drunk. Shouting loudly to vent my anger. When I wake up in the examination room, the ink is dry. The sun sets and the sun laughs silently. The charcoal star is full of sound. Suddenly, I hear the eagle cry, the new moon, the water clouds and red lawn. Raising his hand and waving it, he is actually looking for the topspin. Beasts are psychic. They know how to use their lives to win over officials. Full of masculinity, they are full of righteousness. Signed to find the people as the heavens. There is a dream in a dream. It is fate. Come down, don't stop me. Zhang Xiaobao threw away the pen and opened his arms. Shui Yun and his wife, Hong Wan, came down one after the other. The wind brought by their wings made the soldiers unable to stand steadily. Stand still on the table, don't move. I almost died of exhaustion from writing a song of more than 1,000 words. I can't ruin it, otherwise I will go to your house every day to cry. What's wrong? Something happened at home? You don't care about the children? Zhang Xiaobao patted the table and talked to Shui Yun and his wife. Shui Yun and Hong Wan really jumped on the table and looked around curiously. Wang Wan pulled the board away and looked at Zhang Xiaobao in surprise, then looked at the paper and asked, "Is it really more than 1,000 words?" "It's punctuation. Anyway, it has more words than Xiaobai." Zhang Xiaobao patted the paper. Wang Wan thought for a while and realized who Zhang Xiaobao was talking about. Bai Jui, who wrote the song of everlasting regret. Then she curled her lips and said, "How can you compare to him? He has quality. I have speed. Give me 2 days and I will write better than him. He writes this kind of thing when he has nothing to do. Do I have time for nothing? If you don't believe me, look at Shaoli. He hasn't written for a long time. He is in charge of the Ministry of Revenue, and he is so busy. I have decided to work hard to live for a few more decades or even 100 years. I will wait for Xiaobai. He has just grown up, so I will arrange things for him to do. You want him to write poems? He should write reports and self-criticism every day." Zhang Xiaobao said viciously, then opened his mouth and laughed. Wang Wan was also amused. "Fortunately, I didn't get you into the spring and autumn annals. Otherwise, there would be no Analects of Confucius. What are Shui Yun and Hong Wan doing? How would I know? I saw them flying in the sky and waved my hand, and they came down. Their eyes are quite sharp. I will have someone go to the lake to check. Don't let anything go wrong." Zhang Xiaobao wanted to order the soldiers to go and check. Before he could find the soldiers, a person rushed in from outside. It was Luo Bin. He hurried to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, looked at Shui Yun and Hong Wan and said, "Lord Zhang, Lord Wang, the children are all out. Lord Shui Yun just fed them. Lord Zhang said that the children are asleep now and asked me to tell you the good news. I didn't expect Lord Shui Yun to come in person. Oh. All 11 are safe?" Zhang Xiaobao asked happily. "That's amazing. They can open their mouths to eat insects without opening their eyes." Luo Bin continued to report. Zhang Xiaobao agreed. "Amazing, really amazing. In fact, when we were young, we could take the initiative to drink milk with our eyes closed. We are amazing together." Yes, Lord Zhang is right," Luo Bin echoed. Suddenly, he saw that in another single room, there were examinees poking their heads out to watch the fun. So he quickly said, "Since Lord Zhang and Lord Wang know, I will go back. Keep an eye on them, or I will lose my head. Okay, when I go back after the exam, I will reward you handsomely." Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand and said goodbye to Luo Bin. Zhang Xiaobao turned his head and looked at Shui Yun and Hong Wan. After thinking for a moment, he said, "After I deal with the imperial examination, go back to Sanshui County with me first. I really don't feel at ease in the capital. There are too many eyes and different minds. Sanshui County is our territory. If anyone has the ability to infiltrate Sanshui County and harm your children, he might as well deal with the palace. The difficulty is almost the same." Shui Yun looked at Hong Wan and nodded to Zhang Xiaobao. "Okay, you two go back first and take care of the children. When I finish the exam, I will go to see you immediately." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he lifted the table and pushed it upward. Shui Yun and Hong Wan took advantage of the force to rise into the air, circled twice, and flew in the direction of the lake. After the two eagles left, Wang Wan curiously reached for the paper. "Let me see what you're writing." "Dream, I had a dream." "Oh, there were two." You're tuning in to the Echo Reads YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.